Oh, you're looking. Oh, you're looking at the group chat. You're looking at the side chat. That's why you're looking.
Oh,
That's why
okay,
you didn't
yeah.
see anything. I put it up onto the live page chat.
Oh, right.
Well, hello everybody out there. Welcome to Vapes Across the Pond, Volume 3. My name is Joe. I am the proprietor of this channel, My Vaping Place. I'm sitting here with my partner in grime over here, Andy from Cloud-Based Vaping. And I'm trying to see what's going on here with this thing. Oh, come on. Give me a bloody break. I'm trying to get up the chat window here.
You can tell these aren't rehearsed.
Yeah, no, these things are totally off the cuff.
Yeah, these are about as live as you can get.
Yeah, sort of being in the middle of a train wreck. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
I don't think it'll get that bad.
Yeah.
Well, you never know.
Yeah. Right.
Things take a turn for the funny.
Yeah. Let's keep our fingers crossed they don't go that far.
Yeah, it's all good fun.
All right. Well, it still says offline. Why does it say offline here when it says online? Oh, bloody hell. What is going on here? I don't know. What the? Hey. You have one of those days.
Yeah, not very often, but I do get them.
Oh, bloody mother. All right, it says here that it shows that we're live.
Yep, we are live.
And I'm looking here at I'm looking here at my video manager. All right, let me close that down. My channel. All right, come on. Video manager. Live streaming. It still says that we're offline. Ah, here we go. It says it's now streaming. Streaming now. Thank you.
Oh, we're up and running.
There we go. All right.
Good.
Episode 3 is live. It's alive. All right. Yeah, and we got audio there too, so that's good.
Marvelous.
All right. So do me a favor. Go to my channel on YouTube and check to see if it's see what's there.
Okay, 2 seconds.
Because last time I got too many complaints from people saying that that I wasn't looking at the live chat and everything else. So
Okay, if it is.
I don't want to piss anybody off anymore.
Okay, Vapes Across the Pond. Live.
Okay. Click on it and tell me what you see.
Okay, just give me a second. My computer's having a there we go.
I want you specifically to look at the the chat window.
Okay, the chat window is up. There's a slight delay. I see nothing yet. Let's get rid of that. Okay, nothing's come up yet.
Oh, bloody hell.
I've just had to mute YouTube. I'm getting about 3 different conversations. Okay. Oops, busy. Okay, I've just posted a text.
Nope, I didn't see anything come up here. All right.
That is.
All right, live now. Here we
Oh,
go.
hang on a minute. We've got one for Midnight Vapor.
Yeah, I got him. Got it.
Midnight Vapor Lounge.
How you doing, Midnight? Yeah, I see you here.
Right, well that seems to be working.
All right. All right, so let me minimize that.
It just looks like there's a slight delay
Yeah,
in...
it's always got. There's always a delay on YouTube chat. Okay, thank you, Midnight. Appreciate you taking the time to let us know about that.
At
All
least we
right.
know it's working.
Yeah, it's finally working. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, brother.
Yeah, and I had nothing to do with it, surprisingly. It just decided to work on its own.
Yeah, Midnight, I hear you. I did a live broadcast on Vapers TV earlier. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Excuse me a second.
You're having a choking fit.
Post-nasal drip. That's the problem with sinuses, having sinus issues in this kind of weather. But yeah, I was just
the
doing.
weather's been quite nice.
Yeah, well, they're calling for snow and heavy wet snow, about 1 to 3 inches tonight.
Hey, snow
over here. Yeah, isn't that fun? All winter long, we get one big, massive snowstorm. Thank you, Lord, for that. And now the first day of spring, what do we get? 1 to 3 inches of heavy wet snow. Yeah. No, I just Midnight. I did a live broadcast earlier on Vapers TV on my new channel. I just put it up. My Vaping Place is the name of the channel on Vapers TV. I didn't get it. I was working on doing the editing myself on that thing just before, because there was a big long section there where I had accidentally had the mic shut off. Oops. Yeah. So I had to turn around. I had to go in there and go, and I was just about to start compiling that when Andy came on here and said, "Hey, I'm here. You want to chat?" So I'm like, "Okay." So I saved that, and I'll put that up later on. I just had to do some work on the playlists on here.
Just to clarify, my voice isn't that high-pitched either.
What? Are you talking about high-pitched? Mine's the only one that'd be high-pitched. Oh, sorry. Sorry, mate. No offense. But yeah, so yeah, I had to do a little bit of housekeeping on the channel's playlists and stuff. Yeah, it's going to take about an hour to do the compiling and stuff like that. I did all the editing and everything else, so it was 56 minutes worth of me rambling on with my cousin and 2 other guys who didn't hang around for too long. So you know, what can I tell you? It was an inaugural broadcast. It was the first time I was doing something like that. So, you know,
We
you
all
gotta
have to
expect that
start
kind of stuff.
somewhere.
Yeah,
We all
you all have
have
to
to try.
expect it. So,
I mean, you've seen my first ever attempt of a YouTube video.
I need garlic with that one, dude.
Yeah, well, you know.
I know. Yeah, you don't want to see my first one. My first one's up there, but please don't look at it.
That was filmed. That was filmed using this. So I decided, you know what, bugger it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, hey, we all got to start
And
someplace.
The videos have gradually got better as I've got, you know, a better PC. I've got better editing software. It's just at the moment with all the written reviews I'm doing now, YouTube has steadily gone into a decline.
Yeah, it'll work.
It's just having the time to do 2 reviews in one go. It's just one of them things. It's one or the other, because with time, with work, and then everything else, it's difficult to try and sort it in. Because if I get 12, 13 different products, I then got to use them to see what they're like. Then I've got to do the written reviews, which takes me about 45 minutes to an hour at least to do a review. Then, if I put it on YouTube as well, I've got to do it in 2 goes. So it is finding the time to do 2 reviews.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the channel is still there. I mean, hopefully, once we try and sort out a schedule and it gives me a bit longer to do these reviews, then they will be on YouTube. I mean, I've got that 8 or 9 different products here I've reviewed already, but I've just not had the chance to do a video of them.
Yeah.
But
I finally got my schedule and finished the onboarding stuff for the new job. So my new schedule is going to be Monday through Thursday, 7 to 3. So that'll turn around. That'll leave me Thursday, Friday, Saturday, unless I can pick up some hours, you know, some overtime hours and stuff.
It's same with me, because with me working shifts, I mean, I do either 6 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon for a week and a bit, 2 weeks, and then I'm on 12 in the afternoon till 8 at night. So within those afternoon shifts, I don't have jack all time to do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I get the stuff to review, which I'm grateful for. You know, I'm actually getting somewhere to get my mark out there. Granted, it's written on a website. I mean, hopefully, if I can try and sort out somewhere saying, right, you give me these, I'll review them on YouTube first, and then I'll do your review. So they give me 2 weeks worth of reviews, which for me can take longer. Just give me a boatload and say, right, you've got 4 weeks to do that. Then I can put it on YouTube.
Yeah, then it works for you. Oh, got good news yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Vape is going to be sending me the prototype of their new tank that they're going to be coming out with.
Oh, very nice.
I get to turn around and do not only beta testing for them, but I also get to do reviews on it at my leisure, which will be, you know, hopefully coming within the next week or 2.
That's quite good. I'm hoping to get my hands on the new tank by a Kanger. That should be an interesting one. It's the have you seen it yet?
The Squonker?
No, it's basically what they've done is they have made a TPD compliant tank.
Okay.
What it basically is either 2mm or 4mm tank.
Hold on a second. Hold on, Andy. Midnight, thank you. Greatly appreciated. And I have not been missing your chats here. I do have it up. And yes, I know it's, quote, easier rather than going through all the trouble of doing all the videos and then having to do all the editing and everything else. But I don't know. I still like having the control over being able to do the editing and everything else and putting up something that's even close to what I like, you know. But like I said, I only did the live one. This is our third live broadcast here on Vapes Across the Pond, or Vap, as I like to call it.
Vap.
Yeah, Vap. You know,
that over in Britain is value-added poultry.
Huh?
Over in Britain, in the retail trade, well, it's actually spelled VAP. It's abbreviation for value-added poultry.
Ah, okay. That's an interesting one. I heard of VAT, but that's a new one on me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Greatly appreciated, bro.
What we use in the retail trade, it's packaged fresh poultry.
Ah, oh, okay.
So
yeah,
I've been called many things, but not chicken. Not fresh chicken, anyway. Spring chicken,
well,
maybe.
You're fresh, yes.
I don't feel fresh.
Yeah, well, you probably don't smell fresh after a day's worth of work either. So
No.
thank God I don't have smell-o-vision over here. Thank God you don't have smell-o-vision either. So
it's not that bad.
No, the wife was cooking something over here earlier that's it definitely doesn't set the the taste buds a tingling, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you got to remember something. She's a Polish girl, and she was born over on the other side. She came over when she was like 5 or 6 years old.
Oh.
Her mom and dad were, her dad was actually born here in upstate New York, and his folks went back over there after the First World War. And actually, once Poland got its independence, and actually set themselves up a farm and everything else. And he met and married one of the young ladies in the area, and had a boy and 3 girls. I got the youngest of the 3. And she still has this taste for those delicacies which you can only get either very fresh from the butcher or directly from the farm itself. So delicacies which my particular schnozola doesn't find exactly, shall we say, titillating. I think I'll leave it to your imagination to know what I'm talking about. And I ain't talking chitlins either.
I know exactly where you're coming from, because where I work, we have quite a lot of Polish and Lithuanian people working with us for the in-store agency, and they bring their own meals in with them, and they warm it up in the warehouse microwave in the canteen, and some of it smells, to be fair, not that bad. I mean, some of it does smell quite nice. Although I have smelled some, and it's been, what the hell are you eating?
Yeah. Well, I love some of the stuff that she's cooked. Her mom actually taught me a couple of recipes, because one of my therapies, shall we say, is doing cooking, and she just loves it when I get pissed off at something, because I immediately head for the kitchen and start cooking.
Yeah. You're not a Gordon Ramsay, are you?
No, I'm not a Gordon Ramsay.
You don't storm in there with knife in hand going.
Well, maybe a little bit when I'm really pissed off about something. She knows better. She knows better than when I go in there and I start doing dishes and stuff like that, and I start making a lot of noise while I'm doing the dishes, to stay the hell away and just enjoy whatever it is that I have to crank out.
Yeah, a string full of F words and this and.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, in our house, we don't do the dishes because we have a dishwasher.
Well, you're looking at the dishwasher.
Bearing in mind, I had to install it myself by ripping out half the kitchen cupboards and new piping and various other stuff you need for a dishwasher. But
Yeah,
it comes in handy when
you did put a backflow valve in there, didn't you?
Yep.
Oh, good. I was going to say, because most people that do DIY dishwashers, they don't put a backflow valve in, and it can get a little bit nasty if you happen to run the sink at the same time. You know, yeah, not good. Yeah.
I'm not fully qualified, but I did 3 years in the plumbing trade.
Ah.
The only thing I didn't get was what they call over here is gas safe registered.
Uh-huh.
So anything regarding the boiler sort of it, I don't touch. I can't touch legally. But piping and radiators and various outlets and inlets and flow regulations and safety valves and shut-offs and all that, I can confidently do.
Okay, that's good to hear. Yeah, I worked for a plumbing shop in my early days.
Life. I'm sorry. I've done plumbing trade. I spent 5 years as a butcher.
That's one I never did.
I am, again, with the plumbing trade, never got signed off for electrics. So, with guidance, for somebody who can sign it off before I turn the electric on, if needed, I could rewire this entire building and know I've done it right. All it takes is for a mate of mine who's a qualified electrician, with stuff I did in this house myself, with relocating plugs and switches, and the kitchen has sockets with inbuilt USB ports, so we don't have to find adapters.
Cool.
So if phone needs charging or a mod needs charging, can't find the adapter, just plug it straight in socket.
Yeah.
So all of them got fitted. He came round, 5 minutes, job done. Yeah, it's safe. It's ticked off.
It's the code. It's the code. Zip, 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 zip. Yep.
Yep. All he does is he just came round and says, "Let's have a look. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Breaker's all right. Yep, that's fine. Yes." And then I'd never ever turn anything on until he comes round and checks it.
Yeah.
I know myself. I've done a professional job, but it's for my own peace of mind to think, if I got distracted, it's a case of, did I do that right? I'd rather than come round and say,
it's always good to have another set of eyes. Yeah.
It's same as my other mate, who was a qualified plumber and gas safe registered engineer. If I do what with radiators, like when I redid the entire kitchen, I stripped it out and I completely replumbed it. Once I finished, he came in, checked the welds, checked the seals, checked the bends, the brackets, the safety valves, the shut-off points. I said, yeah, that's all cool. Yeah, water's turned back on. Boom, done.
When I was a few years younger, shall we say, we turned around and we had my folks had bought a house out in Far Rockaway, out in Queens, when I was like 9 years old. And the place was, to be polite, a fixer-upper.
Yeah, they're the best ones.
I learned a lot in that place, believe me. And when we had the fire in our house back in '86, we lost 35 feet of a 55-foot roof. And we were living in a trailer for about damn near close to 6 months. The guy that we hired to come in and actually do the work and stuff like that had a couple of people that came in, and he only had like 3 or 4 people working on this building. So I pretty much, luckily I was working a part-time job at the time. So I was able to turn around and get in there and do a lot of work. And when the electrician came in and he had to pretty much rewire the entire goddamn house, I'm sitting there working with him, and I handed him the schematic for how I wanted the house rewired. He looked at it and he goes, my God, this is freaking overkill. I said, is it the code? He goes, this is like 5 times over code. I'm like, okay, that's good. Then we shouldn't have a problem with the inspector when he comes in and takes it over. He goes, hell no, he'll look at this and he'll go, what the hell are you trying to do? You know, but he'll sign off on it. We turned around and besides doing plasterboard, carpentry, tile work, plumbing, electrical, you know, I did everything in that house. There's so much of my blood in that house that it's actually pretty damn near close to a relative.
I mean, I think the biggest job I did in this house was to install a corner shower in the bathroom. The only thing is, with the boiler being on the same level, it couldn't be gravity fed. So I had to install a separate pump to power the shower, which meant adding half a foot to one wall, which meant removing the all stud partition, re-putting it in, and creating enough space for the pump to actually sit there without any vibrations.
Are you using a water tank heater, or are you using one of those on-demand heaters?
Ours is a central heating boiler, combi boiler.
Okay, so you have, all right, so you've got a tankless coil inside your thing, or is it a separate unit that?
For me, ours is a gas combi boiler, which in turn heats the water for the central heating and hot water throughout the house.
Okay, so you've got a tankless coil in there. Okay.
Yeah, the pressure is too low for a power shower, so an external pump would be needed.
Okay, because around here in New York and in Jersey, you have the water main pressure coming in from outside. It's 32 psi. That comes in, that goes into your separate hot water heater. So it could be either electric or gas, depending upon what you want to do.
Have you got the British equivalent of the immersion heater? An immersion heater is a tank, a copper tank, which fills with cold water and then can be heated when needed.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
well, exactly. That we have it's a hot water tank. It's a big round tank, depending upon the size of it. It's got the like on most houses over here in Jersey, they have the gas burner at the bottom with the flue going up through the central column, with heating fins coming off of it into the water space. The cold water comes in at the top, goes down to the bottom, comes in, and as it goes up through there under main pressure to the top, it gets heated, and it keeps the tank is insulated, so it keeps the heat and everything in. So when you turn the hot water on in the kitchen, the hot water comes spewing out, and it gets replaced with the cold water at the bottom.
Yeah. Sounds like very much like an immersion heater, apart from the immersion heaters in the UK are electric, not gas. Yeah.
Well, they do have them here in electric as well. The thing is, though, is that those things are usually about as efficient as, I believe the phrase in Italian is ugazzagul.
Yeah, immersion tanks are better kept on all the time because they are more energy efficient, switched on all the time than when you need it.
Yeah. So yeah, because we turn around and the hot water heaters we have over here, they're gorgeous. Right now, the tank that we have down in the basement in this building that we're living in now, because we got the 3rd floor apartment here. The tank that we have downstairs is like a 55-gallon tank. And it's a gas-fed boiler, a gas-fed heater, and I've only got it on the B setting.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, all we have to do is crank that hot water valve like maybe 1/8 of a turn, and the cold water has got to get like 3 or 4 full turns in order to be able to cool it down. So
yeah. That's the benefit over here of having the gas combi boiler.
Yeah.
So much easier. But the only thing is, if it's on the same level like ours is, it's in the bedroom, which the bathroom is actually next to the bedroom. The pressure isn't strong enough for a decent on the wall shower, rather than one you can bung on your taps and use the water pressure that way, because it just wouldn't work. So I had to purchase an extra pump, which works to create the pressure.
An external pump, I'm like, what's the matter? Don't they have pressure in that place? They have to have a pump or something like that to suck the water in off the mains? I was like,
the pressure from a combi boiler isn't that strong if you want to have a power shower fitted.
Okay.
It's as strong, because with the combi boiler over here, you have your mains water, the main pipe goes into the boiler. You have a second pipe that goes, which has your gas, which then connects to the boiler. Then you have so many different pipes adjoining that, which then run off to your taps and then adjoin to your radiators, and then every so often. It's happy enough to run a sink or run a bath or anything like that, because the pressure's fine. If you're wanting to use something like a power shower, the pressure isn't as strong, because it has to come down.
Now I understand what you're talking about.
And then back up.
Shower. You're talking about one of those like pulse jet showers.
Yeah, one where the dial is just fixed to the wall, and you just twist it to get your hot and cold water from.
Well, that's what we have here. It's, the shower body is right in the wall and everything else, but we use the mains pressure here. Okay.
Yeah, we don't have that luxury. Well, I don't anyway.
Well, yeah.
To get the effects of the shower, the full sort of force and pressure from a shower, an external pump is needed to create that extra pressure. Okay.
No, because I have a shower, the European style shower head with the long hose on it, and you have the head on the thing there that you can take off, and you know, and it's got all the different, it's got all the different settings and everything else on it.
Yeah.
And I can turn around, I can put that thing on the pulse jet, and even living on the third floor, I'm talking like, for me, it's more than powerful enough to do what I like. You know, so even because we got, like I said, we got about 32 pounds per square inch here. That's the main, the average mains pressure. So
yeah, because you're relying on external water pressure itself. The only thing with the combi boiler, it's all integrated, so you sort of lose. You get the full pressure going into the boiler, but for taps and everything, it's more than adequate.
Yeah.
But if you wanted something extra, because it's actually on the same level, you need something to sort of give it a bit of a push.
You see, this is the kind of thing that's really great about what we're doing here, because I would never have known any of this kind of stuff just sitting back and watching the television and listening to other stuff. And this kind of stuff you never find out unless you're actually living over in a place.
If you were to fit a normal shower on the pumps in the pressure system that's in here and attached to a tap or coming straight off the main boiler itself, you'd just be trickling water through a shower head.
Oh boy.
It wouldn't be beneficial at all. But the whole point of a power shower is you need something which will give the water that extra pressure, that extra kick for what it's actually designed for.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's all a learning curve. I mean, I knew what I was doing. It's just when you actually come around in practice to do it yourself, you're thinking, crap.
Did you
now
do it right?
I've got more pipes to run. And then I've got to get the pipes connected to this pump, and then I've got to run the outlets from this to the shower head to regulate the pressure when the water comes firing through that. Is it going to be enough to hold the pressure back? Is it going to be secure enough?
And you also got to make sure you got a pressure regulator on there to make sure you don't wind up blowing up the pipe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's a lot of things. I mean, fitting radiators is easy. I mean, fitting a bath or a sink or a toilet's easy enough. It's when it comes to things like this, you've got to sort of sit back and think, yeah, water pressure is all right, but if your seal you put on that pipe isn't strong enough and you don't test for flow before you board that wall up, you're going to find out the hard
You got
way.
problems. Yeah. Tell me about it. Are you using solder joints and copper tube or copper pipe?
Yeah, solder joints.
Okay.
Heated with a blowtorch. So
Flux and solder.
yeah, flux all the way around, and then cool it with a wet rag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same over here. Though they did, I was at Home Depot. That's one of our big box stores over here. I don't know if you guys got them over there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they had a new thing out that they came out with. I think it was about a year ago, because I had to turn around. I had to replace the kitchen sink about a year and a half ago. It's a new thing that goes onto. It's a new type of fitting that just pushes right on. You have to make sure that you take your tubing cutter, smooth it all out, get off all the burrs and everything else. Give it a quick run around with the abrasive cloth, and then you just push this thing on, and that's your connection. It's got these little teeth on the inside of this collar that when you push it on, it actually bites into the copper.
Yep. Yeah.
And holds it into place. I'm looking
over
at
here in the UK.
They call it a shark fittings, by the way. I believe they call it.
I'm not sure what it was called over here, because my dad used to work for, over here was what was known as IMI Yorkshire Fittings, and they were actually creating them push fit fittings in their warehouse.
Oh, really?
They were trialed, and they were made over here, and then they were shipped out. I can't remember the life of me what the name they called it. It was exactly the same idea, push fit, but I can't remember the damn name of it.
It'll come to you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, probably will do. Because they used to supply.
About 10 minutes after we get off the conversation, you'll go, "Oh shit!" Yeah.
It'll come to me. I mean, it's been a while since he left there, because he got made redundant. Well, he took volunteer redundancy. And at the copper works, I mean, all they did was like copper pipes, copper fittings, everything you need for plumbing and gas.
Mm-hmm.
And they were doing that at their plant with the old, the push fit system,
right?
Which got shipped out to various different countries.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Because, like I said, this is the first time I had ever heard of that thing, and I was like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me, right?" And I'm like,
they work remarkably well.
Yeah, I was very much surprised.
You can't beat a proper soldered joint for that extra bit of security.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's an easy idea if you just wanted to throw something up. Like a bathroom sink.
Yeah, or a kitchen sink or something like that.
Yeah. You've got the pipes there, but they're too short, and you think, oh, I've got to get an elbow joint, I've got to weld that to it, then I've got to get two longer pipes, then the flexi hose to the taps and everything.
Yeah. You got to make sure you got your compression, you got to get your compression valve on there and all that good funky stuff.
Then all this comes across, and you look at it, you think, right, I need two of them, and two of them, so it's bang, bang. That's the connection. Bang your joint in. Bang your pipe in. That's it. Done.
I was so shocked putting that sink faucet in, because I was like, all right, I'll try it and see what the hell happens. You know, I was like, I wasn't thinking much about it, so I turned around. I actually got a couple of elbows, a threaded piece that goes on to the end of the. I forget what the hell they call it. that goes on there that you put your valve and everything else on. Because
Yep.
I wasn't going to play with compression fittings on those stinking lousy little valves that you have underneath the things. They always leak. And
Yeah.
so I turned around, I got that, and just in case, just in case these new things didn't work. I was so shocked.
It's best to be safe.
It was like, it would have taken me about 2 hours to turn around and do it, and getting underneath there with the propane torch, and getting under there and getting solder and everything else all over me while I'm trying to do it. And I'm like putting this thing on there, taking off the old thing, cut it off, made sure everything was nice and clean and everything else.
Yeah.
Put this thing on this, bam, done, bam, done, bam, done. I'm like, holy shit, this thing only took me 45 minutes, half an hour to 45 minutes. And that was because I was moving slow, because I wanted to make sure I got it right.
All it is just a time saver.
And I was like, holy crap. And I'm sitting there and I'm like running my hand over the pipe to make sure that there's no leaks and everything else. And I'm like, it's not leaking, it's working. I'm like, holy.
They are amazing.
Who would have figured?
You wouldn't have thought it from what they are, but
yeah,
when you use them,
I mean, you could literally have knocked me over with a feather on those things. Literally, I'm telling you. And
it is a massive, massive time saver.
Yeah, and the wife is like saying to me, and Christy's like saying to me, "You finished already?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm finished already." She's like, "I thought you said it was going to take about 3-4 hours." I'm like, it would have. I found a faster way of doing it. Good boy. Yeah.
I've not used them myself, but I know people in my trade that have used them. And yeah. I mean, cost effectiveness, depending on where you go, sometimes they can work out more expensive than actually doing the proper plumbing way of doing it.
Yeah, but the thing is they may be a little bit more expensive. The fittings themselves may be a little bit more expensive, but you actually save money in the long run because it takes you less time to do the damn thing. And if you're a professional and you're out there, you can get more jobs done in a day than you could if you were doing the old way. And
convenience.
Yeah, and it costs the customer actually less in the long run, because if you're charging them like $15, $20 an hour, conservatively, a licensed plumber over here could charge you as much as $35, $40 an hour for coming in to do the job. But, if you turn around, if you can bang it out in 45 minutes as opposed to an hour and a half, 2 hours, that's a considerable amount of savings, even though the cost of the actual fittings are about maybe 25, 50% more than what the old-fashioned fittings are.
And it's the same with electrical work. I mean, on last Thursday, me and a mate of mine actually rewired this entire house. And
you were
buying it from the landlord, because we bought it as an investment to sell on if needed. And I asked him, when the wiring was done, was there any metal grooves in the wall where the cables sit, i.e. the cables aren't just thrown into the wall and then plastered over?
Another one, did they have conduit and stuff like that?
Yeah, conduits, yeah. He said, oh yeah, they're all there. I thought, all right, that's going to be, it shouldn't take us like sort of half a day to get all this done. So we turned off all the electrics. I said, we'll start with the living room because there's more plug sockets in that room. So we disconnected the fuse box and the junction box, and we pulled the first wire out of the wall, and half of the plaster came with it. No conduits in the wall. So all we did was pull one wire and straight up.
So now you have a major plasterboard job to do.
Yeah, and there's no point ringing the old landlord and saying, you said these are conduits, because it's not his problem anymore.
Not only is it not his problem anymore, but it's also the fact that, well, I don't know, that's what I was told.
Yeah, so that was, so with that one problem, we ended up chiseling out grooves in the wall for every goddamn wire in this place. That's plugs and light switches and everything else.
And I can imagine the language coming out of you guys' mouth the whole damn time you were doing it.
The worst thing was, the wires which connected to upstairs were had these old round style junction boxes.
Oh,
where
God,
all
no.
the wires are fed in and then screwed down, and then a screw top goes onto it. So we're pulling these wires and thinking, what the hell is this stuck on?
Yeah, you had wire nut junction boxes there.
Old style, we're talking.
Yeah.
Things that aren't sort of kite marked registered safe.
Let me ask you a question, okay? I'm going to ask you a question. Were those armored cables that you had in there, the spiraled, what the hell do they call them again? The spiral armor cable, or were they just like a Romex cable with a plastic shield or something like that on it?
From over here, I'm not sure what they are. They're generally the dual insulated wire, where it's copper wire insulated with plastic or rubber, and then insulated again. So it's a standard.
Yeah, it's kind of like a
wire.
Yeah, it's a
the
kind
only
of
thing
Rolex.
is, the wire in this, for any building wiring to conform to safety standards regulations, has to be 3 wires. It has to be your live, your neutral, and your
ground.
And your ground.
Yeah.
These wires didn't have ground, which is why we decided to insulate it, to rewire the whole house. Until we found out.
Sounds to me like you had a
wires,
1920s or 1930s wired house there.
This house was constructed in the late 40s, we found out. And
there you go.
We actually stripped the floorboards up where the wires were to find these little junction boxes dotted around. So instead of having one big wire, which was then cut and then spliced off, they were all fed into this one little device where the other wires came out of. So it's a case of them wasting time finding these, unscrewing them, and unscrewing every wire into that before we could pull the wires out. Yeah.
I know that one all too well. Our house out in Rockaway was built in 1916. Okay, and we still had the piping in the walls there from the gas lighting. It wasn't live. It wasn't live, but the pipes were still there. And yeah, I'm looking at this one because we had to turn around. We had to take down all the plaster in the house. So it was all lath and plaster and everything else. And I'm taking down this stuff and I'm going, oh boy, lath and plaster. This is not going to be good for the electrical. Sure enough, we had the armored, oh God, I can't even remember the name of it. Not Romex. I'm having a senior moment like you were having earlier. But it's
senior moment.
Yeah, senior moment. Get over it. You know it as well as me. Brain fart time. Okay, but it's the spiral metal cable. It's got the wire inside. It's got the standard rubber.
Oh yeah.
Then it has the paper around that one, and it's inside the thing. But
yes,
these
you're talking about sub wiring.
Yeah,
the old wiring.
Right. These wires that we had didn't have the rubber on it. It had the tarred cloth insulation on it.
Jesus, that couldn't have been safe for the wattage that's around now.
Yeah. And I'm looking at this, and I'm taking this apart, and as I'm touching the cloth, it's disintegrating in my hand. I'm going, holy shit. Yeah. So we had to turn around. So when we had to rip all the wiring out of the house too, and then rewire everything. That's the reason why I had to come up with a plan for everything, because everything had to come out, because there's nowhere anywhere near code. So I turned around and I had every 2 rooms were on their own circuit breaker for the lighting. Each room in the house had its own circuit breaker for the wall outlets. Okay. There was an independent circuit breaker for the refrigerator, an independent circuit breaker for the microwave, for the dishwasher, for the stove. Then another one for a standard electrical light around the kitchen table and stuff like that. Yeah. Then another one by the prep area. There was actually 2 circuit breakers handling that side, where you could turn around and plug in things like a blender and a food processor at the same time, and not even come anywhere near the 15 amp on those lines. And most of those lines that I had in there weren't using 15 amp circuit breakers. They were using 20s.
It's the same over here. From what we initially, the idea we actually came up with was to fit 3 separate fuse boxes. One for the cellar, because it's independent from the house itself. Right. There's radiators down there, which are now grounded, and there's electrical equipment down there as well. Right. So we fitted one down there. We fitted the main junction box for the house itself, and then we ran a 3rd upstairs specifically for the computer and everything else that is fixed to it. So if one does trip, it doesn't trip the entire house. It always
it doesn't take everything else out. What's your mains? Well, I know you guys are running 220 volt, 50
240 volt.
Yeah. What are you running for your standard house current? Because we usually run like 100 amp over here.
Let's think now. Ours is 240 volts, so that's running at 50 hertz. Do you know, you get me thinking of the latest times of the day.
What's your main breaker? The main breaker coming in from the street. What kind of current is that thing usually handling? Like 50 amps, 100 amps?
I think that's running about 50 amps.
Yeah, that would be about. I would say that's about the same power handling capabilities we got over here. Since you guys are running 240. We're running about 115, 120 over here, so yeah, that would be about the same. Yeah.
Everything's running on. I mean, everything has its own different fuse rating, whether it be 13 amps, 5 amps, 3 amps, depending on the electrical.
Well, that's on your that's on your breakdown board. So,
but apart from that, if everything is fully turned on in this place, it's comfortable enough to run it.
Well, that's cool.
The idea we had as well was...
Hey, Midnight, you still out there, or did we put you to sleep yet?
We got an electric meter fitted, a prepayment meter as well.
Okay.
So we could... Cause I'm not paying... Like on the last discussion we had, I wasn't comfortable paying so much for only using half of that. Yeah. So he got in touch with his mate he works at, and he came out from what's called Meter Plus over here, which is the main fitting for electric junction boxes and that. And he fitted a prepayment token meter.
Okay. Oh, good. I was beginning to wonder if we had put you to sleep over there, Midnight.
It might have been me, Midnight. I do tend to ramble on.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. We got two rag chewers over here, and we both turn around and we both keep our mouths going.
Well, the best thing is, like I showed you, the internet through the plug system. Yes. Which is working a treat. I also had fitted independent Ethernet ports in case one of them failed. So if that plug decided to give up the ghost, I could unplug the Ethernet cable and then plug it into a separate cable linked to the internet, linked to the Wi-Fi device, the box.
Well, that's cool.
Just in case.
It seems Midnight's building coils over there and listening to this running our mouths off here.
I'm not building. I'm just vaping on the Rafale.
Yeah.
Which is.
Did I also tell you I got my my stainless steel wire finally came in.
Oh, stainless steel. You'll be doing a bit of temp control then.
Actually, no. Well,
no?
maybe in the future, but right now I just got the stainless in because I wanted to try it out and see how it was, because I heard a lot of guys talking about how it can be used for standard wattage as well as
it's fine.
Control. Yeah, it can, and it works pretty good. The only problem is that because the resistance of the wire is considerably lower than Canthol. What I normally would have done with a Canthol to get a 1.2 ohm in this, which is like 6 wraps around a 2.5 millimeter OD form. In order to get that same 1.2 ohms, I have to go with 11 wraps on a 3 millimeter form.
Oh, but you'll find it vapes quite nice. Just stainless steel.
Yeah, actually it is. Because I just changed the wicking in this thing the other day. Excuse me, last night. The other day. It shows you where my head's at. I just changed the wicking in here last night because the wicking was starting to get a little bit funky. So I turned around and I'm looking at it, and even I heated it up a little bit to just before it started to glow and burned off the stuff off of it. And it came off nice. It was like, take the toothbrush, go over it, and it just took off all of the stuff. And it was really nice. Yeah, I was seeing that.
My apologies, Midnight, if I'm not talking to you directly. I'm just getting myself in the flow, getting used to new people, new mates, new vapors. Don't mind me, I'm just some British bald guy that sits here and drinks and vapes and chats crap.
Yeah, well, that's the reason why I'm sitting like this, so you don't see my little tonsure that's growing up here. So.
Yeah, well, I don't have that luxury. Mine's there.
Yeah, well, that's the reason why I do a little bit of a crazy bit of comb over here, you know.
You know, that's why the camera's focused at a different angle, because the light doesn't glare off my head.
Oh, okay.
But apart from that, off camera you can't see all my vaping gear over that side of the room. Yeah,
well, I turned this camera around here and moved this camera around today. I had to be very careful.
Exactly where it is. It seems to. My camera now seems to be, I think, angled just right. I think it's not too bright. It's not too dark. It's not too glaring. I mean, you can still see stuff behind me. Yeah. I mean, that thing there. Cameras. Just behind my hand.
Okay.
That's my that's the RC remote control car on top of a Dreamcast box.
Yeah, I can see that. It's right behind you.
Yeah, it's not been running a while. Behind there is the box for the Dreamcast, the box for the GX4000 games console. In front of that is a Sega Saturn, a Sega Mega Drive, and a PlayStation 3.
Oh, that's cool.
And on that side, there is the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo 64,
ooh,
the first Nintendo, the NES. Then we have Slimline PS2, the Dreamcast, PS1, standard size PS2, and the Nintendo GameCube.
The Cube. Oh my God, I haven't heard of that one in a long time.
Oh, I stretch my legs. Nintendo GameCube.
Oh man, I haven't seen or heard of that one in so long. It's not even funny. Oh my God. Oh man, does that bring back some memories?
Fully
Oh,
refurbished
cool.
by
Excellent.
myself.
There you go.
All the consoles I get from traders or car boots are stripped down, fully cleaned and serviced, and ready to use. The Dreamcast is the best one, is because it came boxed with all the manuals, 6 games, the controller and the memory card as well. The little Game Boy style memory card.
Hey, don't worry, Midnight. That's no problem. You do what you got to do. That's no problems. He's only got an Xbox 360. Really was.
Oh,
I've never done gaming. The only time I ever really,
I have a Slimline PS3 downstairs. I use.
The only gaming I ever really did was the original NES that my ex and I had gotten as a Christmas present once, and I used to drive her crazy. She used to get violently seasick with me when I was playing the flight simulator and stuff like that.
The NES I've got currently is sat underneath various boxes of tanks, drippers, and what have you. It's currently a display piece. I do go on it occasionally, but it's finding the time. I mean, they all work. I'm not sure what game actually is in the Nintendo. I think it's Super Mario 3. I think. Is it? Or is it Super Mario 2? I can't remember.
It was probably Super Mario 2, because that's the one we used to have. That was the one that was really, really...
It's got me thinking now.
Hey, no problem. No problem, Midnight. I wasn't first person. I didn't do first person shooter games. I like to do, I like my air combat type of games. And
Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Tetris and Nintendo World Cup.
Oh my God, does that bring back memories? Oh, Jesus. Oh my God.
And I do have Super Mario World for the SNES as well, which does need a bit of a clean. But they all work.
Yeah, no, I hear you, Midnight. When my ex and I split up, I just turned around and I just dropped playing games at all completely.
I'm more of a, shall we say, a Call of Duty kind of person.
Yeah.
On the PlayStation. I ain't been on in a while. I admit I've not been on a while, but if I do, it's usually, if I'm in that kind of mood, it's Call of Duty. If it's always the older ones. It's Modern Warfare 2. But I really don't go online, as it's just a constant embarrassment.
Yeah. I love the only other game I ever had besides that is when I first got my PC set up. I had Microsoft Flight Simulator. What was it? World War II. Where I was either flying a Spitfire or a Hurricane and going up against Henkels. I used to love splashing those Henkels. It was so damn easy. Not to mention the fact with the timed rockets, they were great.
There's a mate of mine that actually does the flight simulators on YouTube on his PC. Does it quite regularly as well.
Oh, that's cool. Now I've even got
He's really into it.
I still have my joystick around, my USB joystick around here someplace, but when I upgraded to Windows 7 from XP, it never kind of worked right properly. So it's like, wasn't a big thing for me anyway. So, and besides,
I mean, I do a lot of reconditioned games consoles. Sorry, if they're in a dire strait, sort of in need of repair, I'll buy a job lot from the car boot, give them a look, sort of like a once over, and I'll try them out. I said, yeah, that's a bit dodgy. That needs replacing. I mean, the PlayStation 3 I've got back there had the yellow light of death.
Oh.
Which was a 20-minute fix, and you'll be surprised how easy the job is to fix yellow light of death on a PlayStation 3. I bought 40 on eBay for 50 quid, all with yellow light of death, and I sold every one for £150.
Oh, that's not bad. That's a pretty good turnaround.
Because it's a simple and honest, easy fix to fix the yellow light of death. The red light of death does take more to get to the ins and outs and the actual problem causing it. But the yellow light of death is such an easy repair. Most people just flog them because they can't fix them. Or the company, they send them back to charge them a fortune.
Yeah.
All it is a £5 for some contact adhesive. The stuff you use for processors on computers. The stuff that goes grey.
Oh, you're talking about
thermal paste.
Yeah, the thermal paste, the silver, the Arctic silver.
Yeah, it's all it is a £5 for thermal paste, and if you've got a heat gun handy, brilliant.
Okay.
That's it. I think I spent about £20 on thermal paste to repair all of these. And each one was on for an hour with no reoccurrence of the yellow light of death.
Cool. So the yellow light is actually like a CPU overheat?
Basically, yeah, that is all it is. All it is, if it's the thermal paste has actually dried out over time and isn't dispersing the heat through the cooling fins properly.
Yeah.
So,
well, I thought Midnight was just saying, yeah, the oily white pasty stuff. That's the standard silicon stuff. When I turn around and when I work on my computers and stuff like that, I use the Arctic Silver instead of the standard silicon white paste. All
it is a case of getting an alcoholic wipe or some alcoholic liquid.
No, don't. I know where you're going. Yes, it works very well, but it doesn't get into the pores of the metal. Arctic Silver has a 2-part cleaner that you can pick up. Usually costs like about $5 for like 2 30-milliliter bottles as number 1 and the number 2. And believe me when I tell you, those 2 things, they will clean the stuff that's been on there since the 1970s. Believe me.
That's actually looking. I know the PlayStation 3s aren't exactly that old, but I mean I will look into it for the older machines.
That
especially
works
when
on
it's
any of those machines. That works on any of those machines. It eats into that stuff so fast. You just spray the stuff on there. All you need is like 2 or 3 drops on there. Just take your finger and swirl it around. And as you're swirling it around on top of that CPU, it starts eating into this stuff and turning it back into a liquid. You get yourself a gloves pad or an old rag, wipe it off and get it down to the metal. Put like 2 or 3 drops of the number 2 cleaner on there with a fresh clean pad. Just go on there and go over it, and it is absolutely clean, right down and into the pores of the metal. Then you put on your like 6 or 9 drops of Arctic Silver. Put your heat sink on top of that. Give it a little bit of a smear. Clamp that down, and you're good to go. All total.
The main process for the benefit of Midnight. The same process can be used on the Xbox 360 if you get, I'm not sure, it's not the full red rings, I don't think. I think it's only 1 or 2 red ring of death. But for the PS3, excuse me, strip the machine down to its bare board itself, so the processors are all on show. Wipe off the remaining residue from the old thermal contact paste, depending on what you use. Put a few blobs on, smooth it across with an old credit card or anything like that.
I don't even do that. I just put the heatsink back on, give it a quick smear, a couple of quick twists, and that does it. I usually use like 9 drops.
You could do that, yeah. I mean, that way it does work. But I've always, in experience, I've always sort of smeared it across. But yeah, that works.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same principle as if you were putting on tile on the
same job. But for the main process of the 360 is you need 2 cocktail sticks or cotton buds. What's the American term? Q-tip.
Q-tips, yeah.
Is when the machine, before you power it up, is you need 2 of them to wedge into the cooling fans at the back of a machine. That stops the fans from blowing cold air across the board. Jam them for 30 minutes only. That seals and sets the thermal contact paste. Turn off the machine, remove the pin, remove the Q-tips from the back of it, power it up again, let the air go through, and it fires up first time every time.
Cool.
It's 45 minutes. It's about an hour's job, including the half an hour to let the board actually warm up and seal the paste to the processor. But once that's done, it's done.
Well, when I turn around and when I'm working like on a motherboard or something like that, I don't even bother with that crap. I just turn around, I assemble everything, and I just let it bed in by itself. For the simple reason that that way the thermal paste will set, and it'll set in place, and as the machine is running.
Yeah. I mean, most people have sort of various different ways of doing it, but they all, in the end, it all does the same job. It all works perfectly fine.
Yeah, exactly. You all get to the same point, and that's where the stuff is set.
It all does the same. Each person has a different way of doing it, but it all gets to the same sort of end sequence. The only thing is with anything like the games consoles, you've got to be careful that paste doesn't contact anything else that's on that board.
Well, yeah, that's the same thing with a CPU, because that Arctic Silver has literally got silver particles in there, and it'll turn around and short something out in the New York heartbeat. Oh,
I found out through trial and error, and then once I found a process that worked every time, I thought, right, here's the big job now. The blue flashing light on a PlayStation 4. Same process, overheating issues.
Okay.
I got one on eBay, which I won from auction for 15 quid. Yes, it was stickered to death with Liverpool United stickers, and I absolutely hate Liverpool United. I don't follow football anyway, so they came off straight away.
That's probably almost as bad as a New York Jets or a New York Giants fan getting them plastered with Cowboys stickers.
It wasn't the fact that it was football related, because I don't follow football anyway. It was the fact that someone had plastered it full of stickers. So they came off, it got rubbed down, polished up. That was the first job.
Rubbing alcohol.
The main problem on this was a faulty HDMI port. So it wasn't getting any picture.
Okay.
So I went online and bought a cheap HDMI port for consoles. Basically, the HDMI port is a universal fitting. The wiring is exactly the same on anything else. Removed that, cleaned up the contacts, soldered a new port on, screwed it back together, powered up, no flashing light, picture was perfect, and I sold that for 300 quid.
Woo! Nice job.
All because the company he bought it from wouldn't return it because it was out of warranty. Sony charged him an arm and a leg to have it repaired, including shipping it over there, repairing it, and then shipping it back. So I bought it, thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. Fixed it, sold it.
Cool. Oh, by the way, FYI, you know the old lighter fluid that you used on your Ronson flip lighters?
Yeah, petrol in other words.
Yeah, well, what you guys call it. We call it lighter fluid over here.
Yeah, it's basically, yeah, it's lighter fluid, yeah.
Lighter fluid works great for taking off old stickers.
What I use terps, yeah, basically, and then a good polish up.
Turpentine takes too long. I found
it does,
yeah, I found that using the lighter fluid just takes those things off. I mean, just squirt it on there, lift one corner, squirt it in there, and just let it soak into the stickers and stuff like that. And then you could even turn around and take a plastic knife and scrape them right off the top and nothing flat.
Yeah.
5-10 minutes of soaking and they're done. They're history.
I'll give that a go next time. Hold that thought. Call of nature.
Ah, okay. Cool.
I'll be back in a tick.
Okay.
Won't be long.
So Midnight, what's up, mate? What kind of coils you making over there? Oh, Gone is very good. Gone is excellent. That stuff is that's basically lighter fluid on concentrated lighter fluids, or as I call it, lighter fluid on steroids. But that stuff is real good too. I try to stay away from Gone, from the heat guns, because if you don't hold it exactly right, it can turn around and blister paint and stuff like that. Yeah. Well, believe it or not, it's that simple stuff that can turn around and can drive people crazy. 6 wraps of what? What are you working on there? Simple microcoil?
Hey, what did I miss?
Oh, I was just talking with Midnight, asking what kind of coils he was making, since he said he was over there doing a lot of wrapping.
Oh, coiling since I was rabbiting on boring him, probably.
24 gauge Canthal, just making some so I don't have to mess with. Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's what I do. I turn around and I use 28 gauge over here, and I make up all my coils ahead of time. So this way, when I have to replace a coil or something like this, and my other rebuildables, I can just like slap it right in there. 10-15 minutes, and I'm done.
I use these. Pre-wraps, Clapton coils.
I do eBay sales, so I have had lots of experience with the heat gun. Okay. Heating up all those shrink wraps on the things, huh?
Ooh.
So what do you do on eBay there, Midnight?
Any freebies?
Oh, come on, dude. Give the guy a break, you know? Jesus, we just met him, you know, and all of a sudden you're looking for freebies? Come on. Get real.
Yeah, all my equipment
At least wait 10 minutes till he tells you what he's doing.
All my vaping stuff has been freebies for review, and It's bloody brilliant. I'm not using the Mech mod tonight either. No, I've had enough of that already.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm saving myself. I'm saving myself for the one that's due on Friday when I pick it up. Well, the new batch of review stuff anyway.
Okay.
Yeah,
Price tags mostly, huh? Okay. So you pick stuff up. So you pick up stuff up on the cheap and bricks and mortar and resell it online.
might as well. Best way. I do it.
Yeah. Don't mind us. We're just a bunch of nosies. That's all.
Aye, you might be. Yeah.
Action figures, books, records, blah 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 blah. Oh, that's
Action
cool.
figures. What kind? What kind of action figures? Is it a certain? Is it the old G.I. Joe Action Man, or is it some of even earlier than that? Maybe. I mean, I'll admit, I do collect a lot of a certain item. Daleks.
You will be assimilated. You will be assimilated.
I have got loads and loads of Daleks dotted around everywhere.
It's like almost everybody I meet. About 70 to 80% of the people I meet who are into vaping from your side of the pond are huge Doctor Who fans. I swear, it's like
Even the missus,
de rigueur.
The missus loves Doctor Who, and she only got into it because of me.
I never could get into it. Oh, G.I. Joe, cool, man. Are the old ones or the new ones? The big ones or the little ones, guy? Yes, I recognize that one.
I think the batteries have died in this. It's been up here for years. I think the batteries have died.
That is actually a very cool piece. I always wanted to get one of those just to have it around just for shits and giggles. That's the only thing about the Doctor Who that I ever really enjoyed listening to them guys.
I've got a limited edition Bump and Go Dalek, which is a molded replica from the 1960s. It's a limited edition of 500. It's not a 1960s authentic. It's been made using the 1960s mold. It's actually in my locked display cabinet.
It's a rerun of the original production mold.
Yeah, with a republished original branded box, as the box would have been back in the 60s.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, the little ones, the little G.I. Joes. I never could get into those. I always liked I had a whole selection of them guys, the big ones when I was a kid. Those I used to play with those guys all the time. Me and my buddies, we would turn around and we'd have wars like you wouldn't believe with those things.
Something I never owned as a kid was G.I. Joe. Never owned one as a kid.
Oh man, those things were great. We would turn around. I think I had like 10 of them, and a couple of my buddies from down the block. We used to get together and we used to set up entire battlefronts and recreate battle scenes and stuff like that. World War I, World War II trench warfare and crap. Oh, it was great.
I tell you what I do own. I am actually into is RC helicopters.
Ooh.
I have one in the cellar, which is 4 foot long. It's a nitro-powered engine. It's not like a petrol power. It's a bastard of a machine, is that?
I had one. I had an old Stuka version of with a 0.60 Cox engine in it. That thing ran like a son of a bitch. Man, I could turn around. That thing was like, I mean, when that thing came in down in a power dive, it would start to whistle like a real Stuka, just from
They
the
are
design
really
of it.
tricky to handle. The RC helicopters. I mean, I started from anything that was basically that big, and I'm now sort of to the bigger size ones. And you'll be surprised on a decent day with not a lot of wind that it's just something about just flying it around and letting it hover above, to letting get people's heads turning.
Mm.
I mean, I've done a lot of build kits. I mean, I've built scooters from scratch. I mean, I built my last one, which I've actually still got somewhere at my mum's. It's an Italjet dragster 125cc, which was resprayed with new indicators. It even had a night rider light fitted to the front, which actually moved to and from.
Cool. That's cool.
She's still got it because I won't let her sell it. It was featured in Twist and Go scooter magazine about 7 years ago. But unfortunately, the mate who took it on my behalf took the credit for it. And it was published with him.
That tosser.
So I don't speak to him anymore now. Because I tried to book the day off work. I couldn't do it, so I said, right, they're due on this day. You take it there, let them take a few pictures. I wrote it all down, what it had done to it, what it was capable of, new exhaust, new brakes, new dials, all this and everything else.
And he took the credit.
That wasn't the first time that happened to me.
Oh, that son of a bitch.
I was due to go to a meet down in where was it now? Some car meet. I can't remember where it was now. Donington Park. It was a modified car meet, and I had my then brand new polished up Vauxhall Nova. I'm not sure what it is over there. Could it be the Opel Corsa over there?
Okay.
Maybe. All stripped out. New engine, GSI engine in it, lowered, new paint job, new interior, new ice unit, all the in-car entertainment, the full works. And I had to be there prior to get the set ready for the car to arrive.
Right.
So I said to another mate of mine who could drive, says, right, I've got to be there at this time, although I can't take the car because the pitch is not set. Could you bring the car up and get it here for 1 o'clock in the afternoon, ready for when the guys turn up for the meet? Bearing in mind there was guys from Redline magazine, Max Power magazine, Fast Car, Total Vauxhall was being there as well. I thought, right, this is it. I spent a year on this car, this is it. Gets there, all ready, 1:15, no car. I thought, right, okay. So I rings him up, no answer. But he's probably driving, he's probably got delayed in traffic. Because there were a lot of cars going there. 1:30. The guys are coming round looking at the cars, and I've still not got no car. I get a phone call. I thought, oh, about time, where are you? Answers the phone and says, where the hell are you? These guys are waiting for this car. We can't make it. So, well, why not? He says, your car's been in an accident.
Oh, Jesus fucking
What
Christ.
have you done? Have you dented the bumper? Has he been head-on collision or what? I says, no. It's wrapped around a lamppost.
What?
He decided it might be a good idea on one of the bends approaching Donington Park to pull the handbrake in front of a group of girls.
He did what?
Not being the experienced driver I was, misjudged what he needed for power for the exit and spun it and wrapped it around a lamppost.
Oh my God.
15 grand's worth of car.
Oh
And
my God.
I'd say about a lot of people there from the magazines. I mean, when I was on the phone, the chief editor of Redline magazine called Renton was actually at my side, and he took the phone off me and says, "Do you know what you have just caused?" So not only are we waiting for this car to be published in this magazine, but this guy has trusted you to bring this car in one piece here. And when he turned up with the car on the back of a trailer, he got the biggest reception he will never forget.
I hope they beat the living shit out of that mother.
He didn't stay there long.
And he probably
The
got
car
thrown out in a freaking ambulance.
The car was a total write-off. I mean, the police that were already at the group anyway basically said to him, "What the hell were you doing?"
Jesus Christ.
I mean, he was insured to drive the car, which my main concern was, yeah, is he insured to drive it like he says he was? Yeah, he was. He was fully comp and he was insured to drive any car that was privately insured by me. Luckily, he got off very, very lightly because I had a second car which actually turned up on time, which actually got featured. But that car he was bringing was the main feature car, which he wrote off about 5 minutes away from where he was meant to be.
Oh my God. I would have turned. I swear I probably would not have had enough composure to let that guy walk out of that place alive. If that was me, they'd be hauling him off to the freaking morgue.
I had a few people there holding me back. Even the police said themselves, "If you touch him, you will be carted away yourself, because it's a private function." I says, "All right then. What about after it's over then?"
Yeah.
So do what you want.
As long as we don't know about it, you're cool by us. I'll tell you, if that was over here in New York, the cops would have turned around and would have just turned their backs and said, "We don't see nothing. We're out of here. We don't know nothing."
I did get him back. I did get him back, which is the reason why he's no longer speaking, because he had a Vauxhall Calibra up to the same spec as mine, although his was a 2-litre engine. And that car mistaken sort of disappeared and then came back on his drive in a small cube.
I like the way you think, brother. I love the way you think.
Had his car towed away in the middle of the night. I got it crushed and had it returned.
Oh my God!
With his number plate just sat on the top. I never got a phone call or anything.
Revenge is a mother. Woo!
There was a small note on it saying, "Remember that Vauxhall Nova? This is yours."
Well, I hope the statute of limitations is expired on this particular incident. Oh, oh my God, that's priceless, bro.
I
That's
did warn him
priceless.
ages ago. Say, if you cross me or you piss me off, I will find some way of making you regret what you've done. And I did.
That is aces, brother. That is aces.
And to this day, that was 17 years ago. I've not heard a peep out of him.
Excellent, my brother. Excellent. Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it.
So he couldn't do anything because the car had not been reported stolen.
There you go.
He had no idea where it had gone, where it had happened, or how it got there.
It was just rearranged.
He knew what it was, but he couldn't prove it.
That's real cool, bro. That's real cool.
And after that, I've not seen nor heard of him since.
Good riddance to bad rubbish.
It might have been a minor inconvenience on his behalf, but for what he put me through, it felt better.
Oh man, that's real cool. That's real cool. Oh God, that's the best laugh I've had in a long time. Thank you for that one.
It took some planning. I'll give it that. It took some planning. But when it actually got dropped on his doorstep and I saw that being lowered onto his drive, I thought, yeah.
I think you had a few other thoughts than that, but we'll leave it at that.
The only thought I had was, what have I done? It was a nice car. I felt bad crushing it because it was such a nice looking car. He's spent thousands on it. Well, he did. Well,
oops.
He seemed to forget that I had back then a very, very tight network of people who I could call upon. And I warned him when we first met. I said, cross me, and you will regret it. I'm not taking the piss. You will. I don't think he understood just how far I'd actually go. Because he knew if he rung me up and says, what the hell have you done to my car? I'd just reply to a case of, what you on about? Don't go pointing the finger because, one, can you prove it was me? And two, do you really want to try and prove it was me?
Yeah, really. Because if he turned around and he brought false witness, then, you know.
What's it worth to you?
Yeah.
You can easily finger point me, but do you really want to go through the hassle of even trying to prove it was me?
Well, the son of a bitch should have to move out of the freaking area.
Oh, he did. He lived with he was living with his dad, and he actually moved somewhere down south, sort of Essex way, from what I got told last. But,
yeah.
No.
Good riddance to bad rubbish.
I said I'd get him back for it, for something that was potentially going to be a showstopper, which every magazine was there ready for this one particular car to arrive, and it never did. Oh, it arrived all right, yeah, on a flatbed truck.
In pieces, yeah.
Yeah, sort of bent that way.
Oh, I hate horseshoes. I hate horseshoes. Horseshoes are nasty. I'm surprised the son of a bitch lived to turn around and talk about it.
But the night wasn't all lost because
No, I meant living through the accident.
no, I'm surprised he lived through it all right. I mean, if it the actual police says if it wasn't for the harness racing seats I had fitted to the car, he wouldn't have survived.
Yeah.
A standard seatbelt might not have done the job because he went driver's side on.
Ooh. What do you have? You have 5-point harnesses in there?
5-point harnesses and bucket racing seats fixed.
Ah, okay.
Which held him in place so he didn't get shook about.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind the Vauxhall Nova didn't have any side impact airbags or airbags of any kind.
That was before the day of airbags.
Before the airbags. So he came off lightly.
For real.
He said if it hadn't been for them, he could have sustained some pretty internal injuries.
Severe. Yeah. Because I used to work EMS over in the city, and a couple of accidents I had to deal with that weren't even half as bad as that. We were taking the occupants to the morgue on that one. So.
But yeah, I was annoyed, but the saving grace was the second car that I had delivered, which again was another Vauxhall Nova, but an earlier model of that car, which was done up to pretty high standards. So they basically took into account what had happened and thought, right, okay, we'll bring this one on in its place.
That's cool.
I mean, it was a 2-day event. I was staying over anyway. So instead of camping over with him, I ended up with 300 or 400 different people.
Hey, that meant for a good party.
Because of this one incident. And it was one hell of a night. And I drove back in the other car that was brought, knowing that
sometimes wakes can turn around and be a lot more fun than weddings.
So it wasn't too bad. Yes, the main car had been written off, only minutes away from the venue. But I had safe in my knowledge that there was 2 cars there, and one of them could still make it.
Luckily for you, mate.
So I still got what I intentionally set out for, just with a completely different car.
Yeah. Not exactly what you were planning on, but it still turned out okay. This is a good thing.
Yeah, it worked out in the end, but not the way I had intended.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't that far behind me. I mean, I went in the first car, and then he was supposed to follow afterwards once I'd sorted out the plot for the photo shoot.
Yeah. Oh well.
He just decided to be a dick.
Yeah. Wow.
But the last I heard, he was doing drugs, dealing. So he's probably locked up anyway now.
Yeah. You know, guys like that with brains coming out their rear end. Yeah, I could see that happening.
I mean, since then I've had other cars I've modified which hadn't been photo shoot. I mean, I had a Rover which was due, but that never took off because the venue got cancelled. And I had a Nissan Skyline GTR which was due, but I ended up selling that car anyway because of some dispute or whatever. So that never made it anyway. And since then, I've not really bothered since.
Yeah.
I mean, the car I've got now is nothing compared to what I used to have. It's a 1.2 Fiat Punto.
Hey,
standard.
We all outgrow things, man. I used to turn around. I used to have motorcycles of my own. that I used to turn around. I would buy them. I would tear them down to the frame, clean them up, respray paint them, do the detailing and everything else.
Yeah.
Take the engine apart, spec out the engine, you know. And
Well, this, oh, excuse me, the Vauxhall Nova that actually got written off was a 1.2 until I removed the engine and had a Vauxhall Corsa 1.6 GSI engine fitted, which meant all new brakes, all new gearbox, all new clutch. It was completely reworked.
Pretty much the entire drivetrain.
Yeah. The whole engine itself cost more than the car did.
Yeah. Well, when you turn around, when you put in a larger engine like that, then you've got to beef up everything. You got to beef up suspension, brakes, drivetrain, the whole 9 yards, not to mention the motor mounts.
The whole mounting's got strengthened, the whole chassis strengthened.
Yeah.
The support brackets for the wheels, the suspension brackets got reinforced. Everything got done.
Well, yeah, you not only have to take in the weight of the engine itself, but also the torque of the engine itself. Because if you turn around, if you put that something that large into something designed for a lot less of an engine, you can wind up racking the frame, which is not a good thing.
The whole frame got reinforced. The engine mounts got reinforced. The wheel mounts and the brackets got reinforced. Even the full exhaust system got redesigned to support. Instead of one exhaust, it had 4 exhausts. So the whole engine, the whole exhaust mounting got completely redesigned. Wow.
I was never that much into cars. I like bikes because they're a lot easier to work on and a lot easier to handle. Midnight, I'm sorry to hear about your issues there, mate. That's a nice little car that you had there. And I'm
3000 GT. Very nice.
Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that you're using the Footman Avenue line now. So, well, things will work out for you soon enough. You'll get something. You get something nice. It may not be as nice as that, but you know, hey, at least you won't be walking.
I found out now that the car I have now is brilliant on fuel economy. It's a nice little car. It gets me to work and back. It does miles after mile. It is all right. They say that Fiat aren't exactly the most reliable car out there, but I have never had one issue with this car. Touch wood. And it's 7 years old.
It's a working man's car. You know, it's not designed to go there in style. It's designed to get you there and get you there reliably, and that's the main thing.
Once it hits 100,000 mile, I will probably exchange it then. It's only done 64,000 miles now. So once it hits 100k, I may move up slightly to something a bit more power. I am considering a Skoda Octavia VRS. There's 2-litre TDI.
Okay, I have no idea what car that is because I can't even begin to picture it in my mind's eye because I don't even know anything about the Brit model cars. So,
well, Skoda over here originally was known as a really piss poor excuse of a car until Volkswagen took it over.
Kind of like the Yugo was, kind of like what the Yugo was over here.
Yeah, so basically, in effect, if you buy a 2-litre VRS Skoda Octavia, you are in effect buying a 2-litre Volkswagen Passat.
Okay, now that one I know the lines on. So yeah, okay.
Because it's all by Volkswagen. I mean, the last car I owned was a Skoda Fabia, which is like a small 5-door hatchback. But the engine was from a Seat Ibiza, owned by Volkswagen. The gearbox was from an Audi A3, owned by Volkswagen. And the whole chassis and bodywork was a Volkswagen Golf.
Far from a mechanic, huh? 50 cc's. Wow.
You can get a lot out of a 50cc these days.
Yeah, that's tiny. Wow.
It's enough to get you up to 50 mile an hour.
That's
if
true.
you bought it out. I mean,
Yeah,
the last bike I owned was a twist and go scooter, and it was a
it's
Piaggio
80. I'm
X9.
sorry. 80's not bad.
80cc good.
The first bike I ever had was a 125cc. What was it? 125cc Kawasaki. Was it?
Was it?
No. I'm sorry. That wasn't mine. That was my buddy's down the block. That was his. My first bike was a Honda CL360 that I picked up. That was complete and total wreck. And it took me 6 months to work on that thing. And I got it out, and I was out driving it and everything else. And I used that thing for a year, and then the engine started to get a little flaky on me. The lower end started getting a little flaky, so I got a good deal on a wrecked CB360, where the engine was still in good condition. So I took a lot of parts off of the two of them and made myself another CB360 out of the parts, since the CL is the off-road model of it and the CB was the on-road model. So I was able to mix and match parts, swap parts out here and there with some other friends and stuff, and I was able to get myself a real good bike. And I was out. You're gonna cringe on this one. I was out the first day I had that thing out of the basement. Okay. I was out riding with a buddy of mine over in Atlantic Beach, and we were driving down the main road in Atlantic Beach, and this bitch in her rolls comes pulling out, blew the red, and hung a left right in front of me. And I had to lay it down. And yeah, it wasn't pretty. It was not pretty. I didn't get really badly hurt. I got knocked around quite a bit, but the scoot was not pretty. I just want I tell you, I wanted to find that bimbo and turn around and wring her goddamn neck.
I've not owned any sort of manual bikes. I've only owned twist and go scooters. I mean, the first one I bought was a 125cc Aprilia SR 125, and then I exchanged it for the Piaggio X9 125, which was a bloody good bike. I mean, it was built like a cruiser. I mean, this thing had rev counter, it had built-in FM radio. It was one hell of a good bike.
Yeah,
that disappeared.
I had the next bike I had. Basically, what I did was after the insurance company basically totaled it out on me. It's a couple of springs inside the transmission. Okay. Well, Midnight, you take care and you have a great one. Enjoy your company.
Hi, thanks for joining, and pleasure to meet you.
So, like I was saying, the couple of springs on the tranny had popped off. Oh, okay. Well, you have it. Okay. Well, when you got to go, just let us know. And so the insurance company basically did a write-off on it. They were going to take the bike and everything else. I said, no, let me keep it. So I basically bought the title back from them for $50. So they were going to give me about $800 for the bike. So I walked away with $750 and the title to the bike. And I turned around, and it took me another 6 months to put it back together again, but I did. And I sold it off to another buddy of mine, and he had it for quite a few years, and I used the money plus a few bucks of my own, and I went out and I got myself a Yamaha XS650B.
Very
So,
nice.
yeah, that one I had to do some work on that one because that one was a total rat bike. But that one had one thing going for it. The guy who had bought it before me, he turned around and he had a mild street racing cam put into the top end on the engine. I'm telling you, that bike could eat Porsches for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and after dinner aperitif. Oh my God. I used to drive that into work down Cross Bay Boulevard in Howard Beach. And there was a Porsche dealership there and a Ferrari dealership there. Every time I would go up that place, somebody would be out there with their brand new Porsche, their brand new Ferrari, sitting at the light, and I would pull up and they go, vroom, vroom. And I just look over and I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And I would look at him and I go, pink slips? And he goes, are you kidding me, man? I'm like, no, I'm not kidding you. Pink slips. No, fun, man. Oh, okay. All right, no problems. Light would turn green. I'd pop the clutch, and I'd be sitting there at the light, at the next light, waiting for him and going, see? Ain't you a smart guy? You didn't turn around and didn't race for pink slips? I'd be driving home in your brand new Porsche.
Hey, there's
you
no wrong with Porsches.
And I looked at him and he goes, what do you got there? I'm like, it's a 650cc straight twin engine. Nothing special. What was that? Oh, 64 Chevy Impala SS convertible. Oh, sweet car. Oh, that is a sweet car.
I do have a summer car.
Kawasaki Ninja 600. Rice burning crotch rocket. Oh, no. I don't like crotch rockets. Sorry. No offense, Midnight, but I do not like crotch rockets. They are dangerous. And the Ninja especially. That one there, that one, if I remember correctly, is the one that when they first came out with it, that had the carburetors in there, that when you got over, I think it was like, what was it, 4,500, 5,000 RPMs, it would directly dump the fuel straight into the engine, and it became uncontrollable. I seen too many guys turn around and being carted off in ambulances in really bad condition on that bike. So, no.
Right, I'm gonna have to nip off and get a battery. My battery's died in my mod.
All right,
so
sounds good.
To get a battery.
Okay.
Only a sec, sorry.
Yeah, it's 64 Chevy Impala SS convertible. That is a sweet car. Oh my God, that is so sweet. What do you mean it would cut out? Midnight, what do you mean it would cut out on you? Okay. I can see that. My dream car was always a 1968, 69 Chevy Corvette. I saw it when I was a kid. I saw one of them. I think it was a '69 Corvette. That was my dream car. The old Ninjas would dump all the gas, get extra speed, then cut out and choke. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They would dump all the gas from the carburetor right into the engine. And those things became basically uncontrolled crotch rockets until such time as the gas was completely burned off in them, and not good. Those things were dangerous. But my dream car was and always has been, like I said, 1969 Chevy Corvette. When I was a kid, I was walking with my dad down the street down in downtown Far Rockaway. There was a Chevy dealership, Mel Chevrolet. And they had one sitting in the front window. It was a nice, beautiful orange. We're talking about as orange as a navel orange. And I swear I still remember to this day as if it was just yesterday, walking down, turning my head, seeing that thing and going, ooh. And I'm just sitting there with my hands on the glass, my nose pressed up against it, my breath steaming up the glass because it was cold. And I'm just standing there and going, ah. Oh, yeah.
Hello.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I love those cars. Anything after, I think it was 73 on the Vets were really not that good, because the 73 is when they started putting in the air pollution control circuitry in there for the engine, and they started cutting back on the power on it, and the 73 Chevy Vet was the most underpowered piece of shit that I have ever seen in my life. But that 69 had balls coming out the walls. I'm telling you. And the guy even turned around when my dad and I walked into the store, into the showroom, and the guy actually turned that thing on, just started it up for a minute, and I'm telling you, that thing had the sweetest exhaust note. It was like you're sitting there, and you could just feel the bass coming off of that engine, and it was like, oh my God! Even my dad was standing there. Now, my dad was not a big car person. He was not. But even he was standing there, and his mouth was open. He's like, that is a beautiful car. And I'm like, beautiful? Hell no. That's sweet. And he's looked at me, and he just started laughing. And so did the salesman.
There we go.
Yeah, I hear that. Never started. Oh my God. When her dad got it, it was a mess electrically and mechanically. Body was cherry. Well, yeah, I could see the body being cherry because it was all fire.
Huh.
But oh no. You got to start a car over. If you don't start a car over at least once a minimum of once a month, the thing goes to hell in a handbasket. Seriously. You got to get the oil and everything else over it, up on the top end and everything else. Yeah, dude, the whole damn thing just rusts out internally. It's like it just dies from the inside out.
Oh.
That had to have taken a lot of work to get that thing back on roadworthy. It could be done. It could be done with the parts that were still in there, depending upon how bad it was. If you slowly turn that engine through and just start lubricating the crap. Oh, grand, that's not too bad. Yeah, that's not too bad. But yeah, no, you might actually be able to save. You might have actually been able to save that engine if you just slowly turn it through. I mean, put lubricating, penetrating oil on every metal part that comes in contact with each other, and just let it sit there for like about a month. Just soak it in. Just constantly keep hitting it. And then slowly, very slowly, start turning the engine over until it starts to move. And then once it starts to move, then you can slowly bring it up to speed and get it to work. I've seen somebody actually bring back an engine. No, it'll never be 100%. No, it'll never be 100% again. It'll never be the same as when it first came out of the factory. That's for damn sure, because you're going to be losing some of the metal to rusts and stuff like that, and just the compression rings constantly sitting in one place inside the block and everything else. No, it'll never be 100%. You'll get it up to about maybe 85-90%, but 100% of way it came out of the factory, never. No, that would mean a major tear down of the engine, reboring it, putting in oversized rings, the whole 9 yards, and basically speccing out the engine again. Yeah, that would be a money pit. I could see that. Yeah, that would definitely have been a money pit. You would have turned around. He would have spent a whole hell of a lot of money. $6 grand on it. Yeah, that's easy enough. Well, that's easy enough even on getting standard parts for the engine and everything else, because it's a vet. You know, vet parts are extremely expensive, but well, one of these days, that's my dream thing. If I hit the lottery, I'll turn around. I'll be able to own one of those babies. Other than that, don't think it's going to happen. But, you know. Wouldn't run without stalling out. Wow. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. That could be any number of things. Wow. Oh well. Say la vie. So, Andy, you're going to be getting new stuff in next week, you said?
Yes. So I had to bear with me. If I can bring up the original email. The Coupor is off the menu as it's sold out already.
Wow.
So what I'm looking at is the new Fishbone RDA, not the crappy glass thing I've got now.
Okay.
The Twisted Messes RDA.
Ooh, that's a nice one.
That's coming in.
I've seen some reviews on that. That's actually a nice RDA.
Yeah, that is a very nice one. I also have the UD Balrog.
Another nice one.
That's due. The Cherry Bomber Mech mod. That's a very nice Mech mod.
That's a pretty mod.
That's very nice. For a mechanical mod, it's on par with the hammer I've got, but more of a box mod. Yeah,
that's a pretty little mod.
I'm quite looking forward to that one. What else? The Royal Hunter Mini to go with the Royal Hunter I've already got. UD Goliath V2.
UD Goliath. I'm drawing a blank on that one.
Yeah, but I think I've actually got some pictures of it somewhere.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
The Mad Hatter RDA.
That's an interesting little design.
Yeah, it couldn't be as any worse as the AX1 I've got. That on a bitch to coil. And to top it all off, the Aspire Nautilus Mini.
That one would be a really interesting one to do.
That's due. Obviously, the Copor is off the menu now because it's all sold out. These are not set in stone, but the majority of it I should be picking up on Friday afternoon.
Okay, sounds good.
So I've got that to come, and it seems quite like an interesting range I've actually got to review this time round. I mean, last time I had a couple of RDAs. I had the 3 tanks, 1 mech mod, and 1 mod.
Midnight wants to know which Mad Hatter.
You what?
Midnight wants to know which Mad Hatter.
It doesn't specify. Just says a Mad Hatter RDA, which could be numerous ones.
Well, if it's the one that I'm thinking that it might be the latest one that was out with the flip top on it, and the modified airflow, that doesn't look like it's too bad. If it's the one version before that, it could be a little bit.
If he gets it in, he usually gets the latest stuff in, so it's more than likely going to be the more up-to-date one. I'm hoping so anyway. But I'm quite looking forward to it, really, this one. This seems to be
He gave you a nice list there.
the last ones I had were pretty good in terms of what I received. I mean, the Hammer Mech mod I received, along with the Infinite CLT RDA, obviously the UWell Rafale.
Well, that Rafale was a nice one in the first place.
The Smock GCT and the Smock. The other, is that the CCT? CTT? 2 Smock tanks anyway. The GCT being the temperature control tank of a lot of them.
Okay.
And the AX1 by Vicious Ant and Section 1 Vapors RDA, which I've not used because it's just not my style. I've used it once and didn't like it.
Okay.
So it's been washed and put back in its box and it's now on display. Because the drip tip is basically sat right on top of the coils. There's no spit back protection at all.
Ooh.
And you're vaping that at 50, 60, 70 watts.
Oh, forget it. You're going to have a mouthful of magma.
Yeah, you're getting spit after spit, and I thought, no. It's all right for people that like that kind of thing, really low down mini RDAs. I just don't seem to get used to the mini Mad Hatter, fucking hell. The mini Royal Hunter I'm getting. I'll use it once or twice to get myself accustomed to it before the review. But after that, I really don't think I'll end up using it because it's just too damn low.
Yeah.
If you like getting spits off your e-liquid when you vape, I mean, if you, to avoid spit back on that, you either need to fit your own custom-made spit guard or vape it at bloody 20, 30 watts. And the whole point of an RDA is, why vape at 30 watts on an RDA? You might as well just use a tank.
Yeah, really.
I mean, I'll review it. I'll give an honest opinion on it. But as terms of using it after a review,
yeah,
I really don't think I'll be using it.
Well,
Very,
Midnight, that
very, very
TFE,
frequently.
I'm sorry. That TFE4 I heard was a nice one, but yeah, I don't like tanks that
Yeah,
require their own special coil that was designed specifically for that tank. And
yeah.
that
A lot of
come
tanks
with
these
RDA.
days have their own coils. I mean, for example, the Rafale that has its own range of coils specifically designed for that tank. I
Yeah,
mean, they're a really beefy, big coil.
yeah,
I mean, obviously you've got the added bonus of the rebuildable section for the Rafale.
yeah. Which is the only saving grace for it.
Yeah, it is only the saving grace because you
Yeah.
can, if God forbid they cease production on the stock coils for the Rafale,
Yeah.
you're at a loss. You might as well just chuck the thing in a bin.
No, not really, because you can still review red to the lips.
You can
still
rebuild the coil.
rebuild those stock coils, but they're never exactly the same.
You can, if you want to go down that route of rebuilding the coils for the Rafale, it's possible, but it's a pain in the ass, and really it's not worth the time and effort to really go all out.
Yeah, well, the whole idea behind these coils, behind these tanks, is to mainstream sub-ohming.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the whole idea behind these tanks. And most of these tanks that were put out that have the RBA decks on them, the RBA decks came out because they know that the builders out there, the enthusiasts, are not going to touch them unless there's an RBA deck for them.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why they came out with them, because the whole idea is that the people who would normally go for these type of tanks are going out there. They don't want to rebuild. They don't want to know nothing about cotton. They don't want to know about coils. They don't want to know about spacing. They don't want to know about UGATs. They just want to turn around and take out the old coil, bin it, put in the new coil, crank it down, put in the juice, let it sit for a few minutes, or pre-prime it, and that's it. They don't want to know. They either don't want to know nothing, or they don't know enough to be able to do that kind of stuff, and they just don't, or they just don't want to know about
the
that.
best thing about having a rebuildable deck for a tank, in my opinion, is you are extending the life of that tank.
Yes,
because if coils are no longer available,
there's going to be a point, and that's probably about a year to a year and a half at the maximum after that tank came out, that those coils are no longer going to be available. Okay, and when that point comes, that tank is now basically scrap metal.
The best thing that happened was when Aspire released the mini Triton tank. It works. It takes the same coils as the Nautilus. So if you owned a Nautilus tank,
you could upgrade to the mini Triton, and you're good to go.
We all know that the Aspire Nautilus is one hell of a popular tank for new vapors, for vapors like you and me, you know, which.
And 90% of the people, and 90% of the vapors are those kind of vapors. They're not the child.
Everyone knows of who's new to vaping, who will eventually get on the ladder of changing their tank, will know about the Aspire Nautilus. So the benefit of the Triton is that the coils are interchangeable. So if you don't like the Triton tank and the coils are still in production, you could put them in your Nautilus tank.
And Midnight just said, I wasn't wanting to learn any of it for the longest time. Buy and replace coils was my method. Now I haven't bought a coil in a long time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, rebuilding is a lot easier. Once the main fear about new vapors who see the term rebuildable, they're like, what if I mess up a coil? What if I don't coil it right? What if I get the wrong ohmage for my tank for the battery I've got in my mod? What if I burn it out, burn my cotton?
What if I burn out my mod because I turn around and put in the wrong coil? Yeah, I know.
If you go on Google these days, there is a guide for simple Ohm's law, which will give you the amateur's way of making a coil so it is compatible with what wattage you are vaping at, so you don't blow out your coil, you don't burn your cotton, and you don't damage the mod and what you're using. Once you get them fundamental basics and you get a grasp of Ohm's law, which is daunting to read when you're new vaping, because you see all this, you need this point ohms for this wattage, you need this, you need that. Once you start building your own coils and you start matching it to Ohm's law and you get a grasp of where you are wanting to go, then you can start experimenting on single coils, dual coiling. Once you get the confidence and you think, yeah, I can do this, that can do that.
And that's the beauty of steamengine.org.
The more you do it, the easier it gets.
That's the beauty
like anything else.
Because all you have to do is plug in what you want and it tells you everything else. Now, for those of you...
You type in... Exactly, yeah, that is it.
For those of you out there who are not afraid of doing math, do a screenshot of this. This is a little pie chart, has all of the math symbols and everything else. If you have any kind of knowledge of basic algebra, this should turn around and have no problems for you. So just do a screenshot of that and do a print shot of that and you're good to go. And
the basics,
even though I know my Ohm's law inside out, I still forget some of these because they're rather exotic and you don't really use them every day. So I keep that little cheat sheet right there by my desk all the time, so I have it with me.
Most people these days, if you don't have access to a PC to go on a Steam engine, which what Joe suggested, you basically type in what values you have and what you want, and it gives you the answer. There are apps available on Microsoft Mobile, on iPad. There are apps available on Android, which is basically a scaled down version of the Steam engine program on the internet, which I've got one on my phone now, which I turn to every now and again if I need to. If I'm unsure, which is very rare, but if you've got a mobile or a tablet, download the app off iTunes or Google Play or Google Store, and there are apps on there which will help you through building your own coil to what you actually want to build, without having to think about how many wraps do I need or what wattage do I need it to be careful of. I mean, for example, I've got a 60-watt box mod there. This is the K-Box Mini. This has a 0.2 ohm coil in, which will work quite comfortably at 60 watts, which I'm quite happy vaping with. Somebody once told me that the lower the ohms of your coil, the higher your wattage can be on your device. The higher your ohmage, the lower the wattage that can be used because of the resistance of the coil.
Yes, exactly.
Now, you might be sitting there and thinking, resistance of what? Think of it as an electronic current. going through, basically what it is, it's an electronic circuit. It's the battery connected to the negative, to the positive, that goes to the positive terminal of the coil, which then flows around the coil, and then back down into the negative side of the battery. You've got an ongoing circuit. I've just fucked up there, I know.
Wrong. You first off, electrons flow from negative to positive.
Negative to positive.
And let me, the easiest description for most people to think of, okay, is piping. Water piping.
Yeah.
Okay. Water voltage is equivalent to the pressure of the water. In other words, in regular piping, 32 pounds per square inch water pressure would be your voltage. Okay. Now, current, which is the actual flow of the electrons, is the water flowing through the pipes. Okay. The water is flowing through the pipes. That flow of water, that's your current. The resistance is the same as going from a 3/4 inch pipe down to a 1/4 inch pipe. That would be the resistance, that where the current now is being pushed down. The voltage becomes less, the pressure becomes less, but the current becomes greater. Voltage and current, excuse me. Oh, whoa, wait a minute, where were we? Yeah.
I got it wrong.
Current is inversely proportional to voltage. So when the current goes up, voltage goes down. Voltage goes up, current goes down. Resistance is directly proportional to current. And wattage is current and voltage together. That's what wattage is. So you take wattage is equal to voltage times current.
Yep. I got that bit wrong because I wasn't thinking. And the Master Joe has just proved me wrong.
Hey, sorry, that's what I went to college for, so.
I made a mistake, which is the first time in God knows how long.
Everybody makes mistakes. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to turn around and come down on you if that's the way.
The basic thing is, I'm that used to doing it now. I don't think when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So when I actually come to explaining it, I'm like, yeah, this is, yeah, what?
Yeah.
I just do it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I pretty much do it myself. The only reason why I'm
accustomed to it and you actually get the grasp of it, you will basically, like myself and Joe, you will do it with your eyes shut. Mm-hmm. You will know instantly what ohmage and how many wraps per coil, what grade thickness your coil should be, what thickness around a coil maker should be. Failing that, if you really are beginning, buy pre-made.
Yeah.
Don't listen to me, because I'll just end up blowing you up.
Yeah, you can go out and buy pre-made coils now. So
yeah,
you don't.
I buy my Vaping coils pre-made.
Yeah, you don't even need to turn around and worry about wrapping it. You can go out and buy them for 25, 50, 75 cents a coil, okay, in the cans or in the tin like you have there, and just pop them in yourselves. And you don't even need to worry about wrapping them because you know that they've already been wrapped by somebody who knows what's going on. But the beautiful part of it is that when you buy that tin and it's 25 cents a coil, now you're saving yourself a whole shitload of money, because most of those pre-made coils that are out there that you're buying, by the time they get from the manufacturer to the distributor to the local B&M to you're talking about 3-4 layers of profit having been tacked on to everything. So now by buying those pre-made coils there, you're now saving yourself a whole shit ton of money.
Oh yeah, you know? I mean, I get these from the guy that I do reviews for,
Mm-hmm.
He makes me's under his own brand, which is the Coil Father brand. I mean, there's a lot of things he sells already which is under the Coil Father logo. I mean, you get 10 pre-made collapsing coils in this for round about £10, which equals out about £1 a coil, which isn't bad to say these are Clapton coils.
Oh, Clapton coils are going to cost you more anyway, normally, because of the extra work and the extra material went into it. But
I mean, I've got various different jars of twisted. I've got Clapton coils. I've got twisted. I've got fused. I mean, fused Clapton coils cost a lot more because of the production issues that are actually used to make a fused Clapton coil.
This roll of stainless steel wire that I just got, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was like about $5-7. It's 100 feet. Out of this 100 feet, I can get damn near close to maybe
one coil.
One coil? No, no. I can get about 125, 150 coils out of this.
If you're practicing, you'll get one coil out of it.
Oh well, yeah. If you're practicing, yeah. If you're playing games with it. If you're playing games with it, yeah, definitely. But
bearing in mind, if you are not sure on building coils and don't want to waste the wire you've got making coils, always find a really cheap wire you can practice making coil wraps on, which won't be suitable. There we go, micro coil.
Yep.
Which won't be suitable.
I wrapped this thing on the live show that I did earlier today. That I'll be putting up on YouTube later on this evening. I showed people how to actually just very simply, very easily make this coil right on camera, and it took all of 2 minutes to do. Well, normally it would take me about 2 minutes because I'm so used to doing it. It took me a little bit longer than that. It took me about 5-7 minutes because I had to explain, how to go about doing it and all the different.
There is the added bonus
and stuff like that.
Most people who are new to coiling will coil around a fine graded screwdriver. However, this is not a plug. There are kits out there, Coil Father, Coil Master being one of the main suppliers of the rebuildable industry.
There's also Puro Concept coilers out there, which are very good.
Exactly.
There's also these. This is not a Puro Concept. This is a clone of the Puro Concept coiler. This cost me a whopping, hold on to your seats now, $4.50. Okay, the Puro Concept, the actual Puro Concept, is about $10 to $11 for the coiler. This cost me $4.50. Okay.
I must point out as well that there may be some people out there which will not say, and I quote,
whether it's a clone or
clones. In my field of profession, shall we say, in regards to the Royal Hunter RDA, that is a clone. It's built the same, it's made the same, it's milled the same, it's designed the same. It's identical. You cannot, there you go, there's a clone.
Yep.
To sell something, it needs to be legally safe to use. There's nothing wrong with clones. If you can't afford the mainstream genuine article, or you wish to try before you buy, a clone is always the first best option, because you don't waste a hell of a lot of money.
And for example,
the Royal Hunter I got was 15 quid. For the genuine article, you're looking at Efro. Yep. You're looking at maybe twice that for the genuine. You can always buy a clone to try first.
This tank, this version of the K-Fun 4. This cost me $35. $13.5 off of eBay. Now, the reason why you can automatically tell it's a clone is because it's blue. Svomesto does not make blue tanks. They don't make it. The only ones that they make are stainless steel. All stainless steel. Period. Okay? The thing is, though, is the Svomesto coil, the Svomesto K-Fun 4 comes out to about $180 US. This cost me $35. This is a one-for-one clone in all respects except for the packaging. Efro says right up front, this is our take on the K-Fun 4. That, in my opinion, automatically makes it not a clone. It is a version of the reproduction. Design. It's a reproduction of the design. Thank you. And this thing is one for one because I can turn around, I can use on here any spare part that Svomesto makes for it. As a matter of fact, the central chimney extension that's in here makes this into a long mode is actually, as the one that I have in this one right here, is a Svomesto chimney extension. The reason why it has this metal piece on here is because this fell over one day and the glass broke on this from the Svomesto kit. Okay? And they don't sell the glass by themselves. So I went out for $4.95. I went to Fast Tech and I bought their kit, which has the metal shield and the glass, and I put that in here, and I'm still using the central chimney extension from Svomesto in here. Okay, that's it.
The only thing I should point out is in regards to eBay or Amazon, is look out for clones that are a genuine copy. That is a device to the packaging.
Like this one. This is the silver one that I just showed you before. This is the one that I got, the first one that I got. Now, I was brand new to vaping. I didn't know about clones. I didn't know about anything. I saw this on there. I remember seeing the things that Phil Basardo and Demetrius did, and I saw it, and I was like, ooh, $35. Yeah, good. I'll get one. I thought I was getting the bargain of the century. When it came, I ordered two of them. One for me, one for my cousin over in England, because she was still using coil head coils and she wanted to get into doing rebuilding, but she didn't know anything about it. So I got two of them. When they came in, you see that little hologram sticker on there? That's supposed to be a proof of authenticity. Well, first off, Svomesto doesn't put it on at an angle like that. They put it on straight and even. Secondly, the number that you see on there, that number was exactly the same on both packages. You want to talk about a pissed off puppy? I was pissed off, but I couldn't get my money back, so I decided to make use of it. So that's the reason why I've got two of them here, two stainless steel ones. However, once I started using them, I got hooked. And boy, did I get hooked. That's the reason why I went out and I bought this one. Because this one I knew was not a rip-off clone. That's the one that came here in the Efro package. That's the reason why I used this one as the example when I did the K-Fun 4 videos on my thing. I refuse to use this one. because this is a total ripoff. This is a total ripoff, a total knockoff. Even though it works, and it works very well, it's still a knockoff, and I will not turn around. I wouldn't use it in a video. So
eBay is full of companies that are selling clones of tanks and drippers. Although I will be honest, the majority of sellers will state if it's a one-on-one clone before you buy. Just to let you know that this is not the genuine article. What you are buying is in fact a one-on-one reproduction, i.e. it is a complete general copy by millimeter of the original.
Actually by micromillimeters, if you really want to get down to it. Because as I said, I can use every part that Vomesto makes, that repair parts and additional kits and stuff like that on this, and not have to do jack to it in order to get it to work. Okay, it's an automatic drop-in, and that's right down to the micromillimeters, because it fits perfectly.
I'm not saying that clones are bad in any way. Some of them you can really tell they are cheaply made. But in regards to whichever preference you go for, most sellers will state that it is a genuine copy of the original, that they do work perfectly well. I mean, in the case of RDAs, you can't really go wrong with an RDA. Basically, all it is a post and a coil and cotton. But you have to make sure when you get an RDA that it is safe to use, that the posts are milled safely, that the 510 connection pin is safe to use. It is, like most drippers, they are adjustable anyway. But you will find, if you use a clone, that the feel of it just doesn't feel, proper. It doesn't feel all that great. You'll find on 510 connection pins they are made of either brass or copper, but a rather softer variant. But they do work, and they're alright to use if you wanted to, a few months down the line, get the genuine article. I mean, to try out, if it's a one-on-one clone, you will find it will work exactly the same as an original copy.
This is the tobacco. Come on, focus in. Focus in. You're not going to focus in.
No, it's not.
This is the tobacco version of the Tugboat version 1. Okay? RDA.
Now, that's one point. Sorry. eBay or Amazon, sellers that are selling replicas or reproductions of tanks or drippers will state that the company that actually has produced that coil or dripper first. For example, the K-Fun you've got, everyone knows of the K-Fun. But if they were to start, say, K-Fun tank, not used, this, that, and the other, and it's a clone, they will be infringing on K-Fun's copyright to that tank.
Exactly.
However,
and they're
if they state that it's made by Tobacco or Efro or another company out there, it's basically stating that we are selling this K-Fun styled tank made by this company. Most eBay sellers will tell you when they are selling it, the company that made it before they sell it, because the seller themselves can get in trouble.
Yep.
Selling something that is made by another company which doesn't state it, because they're selling basically something that infringes on their copyright.
Exactly. Now, that's the reason why this says, when I bought this, it said Tobacco Tugboat Style Tobacco Tugboat Style RDA, meaning it was made by Tobacco in the same exact style as the original tugboat. Now, they didn't give any specs on this particular tank. Now, I picked this up for, it was on sale. It was on sale for about 10 bucks, originally going for about 19 bucks. Okay. You look at it, it's really nice. Okay. It's a standard 3-post stripper.
3-post?
3-post stripper. Yep. 3-post stripper. Standard 3-post stripper. Now, the only problem is, and I blasted Tobacco. I mean, I basically gave them a broadside of 16-inch cannon fire on this one. Because when they sold, when I got this, not only were the center post not completely drilled out.
All right.
Not only did this thing clip every damn wire that I put into it, okay, and I had to go through at least about a half a dozen coils before I even got this build in there to stay. But when I turned around and when I started to remove the excess material from the hole that was there, the silverish hole that was the silverish center post, when I started to remove that excess material, I very quickly found out that the center post was actually copper.
Ouch.
Yeah. And it was a very soft copper, which means that this has probably got a very high nickel content in the copper.
Yeah.
Which, not to mention the fact that it was electroplated with some kind of mystery metal, which I have no idea what it is. For all I know, it could have been a nickel or a zinc electroplating, which you don't dare vape off of, because that center post is going to get hot.
That's a health and safety issue in itself.
Yeah. That's why I blasted Tobacco for this thing. Because not only did they produced a very nice thing. It's a very nice device otherwise. When I did try it, it vaped very well. But not only did they have crap for quality control, they let this thing go out half drilled. They electroplated it with some kind of silver mystery metal, which God only knows what the hell it was. And they didn't even tell you. And they used soft copper. Not hard copper, soft copper.
You'll find with most reproduction tanks or drippers, if they are clones, that the 510 pin can be used of a soft copper.
And not only that, but take a look at that. Take a look at that 510 pin. That thing is so flush. Let me see if I can get this in here. That thing is so flush against there. Sometimes I wonder, there's less than like 1/100th of a millimeter of that thing sticking out past the body of it.
I'm surprised that even connects.
It does, just barely. And there's a lot of times I have to play with it in order to get it on there.
If you think about it, if someone had bought that and was experimenting with mechanical mods.
Oh, forget it. They were trying to use that on a hybrid. They would have fried themselves. They would have fried their fucking batteries. They would have turned around and toasted those batteries to the point where it very well could have not only...
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
People not stating what you are playing.
Yeah.
you are new to vaping and you bought one of these and it's a flush 510 pin, you then went to experiment with mechanical mods and that was the only tank or dripper you had available to try, you would be really sort of not in a fit state to do much.
You'd be a hurting puppy.
Yeah.
You'd be seriously a hurting puppy if you tried putting that onto a hybrid mech mod.
You would.
You'd more than likely wind up with your battery going into a meltdown, and you could probably very easily wind up in the hospital on it.
The majority of tanks and drippers these days that are sold either as clones or the genuine article, the 510 pin has to protrude by a certain amount, just enough.
If it doesn't protrude from the base of that 510 connector by a minimum of at least 1 to 1.5 millimeters, don't even think about using it on a hybrid mech mod.
Or floating 510 connections.
Or on floating 510 connections, yeah.
For those that are new to vaping that are wanting to experiment, I mean, in a nutshell, I mean, further down the line, me and Joe might actually do a show basically on tanks versus mods and hybrid mechanical mods. In essence, on a hybrid mechanical mod, all you're using is the sheer power of that battery going to your coil or your tank.
Yeah, the battery is dumping directly into the coil. The only thing that's regulating the amount of electron flow coming out of that battery and keeping it from going into a short circuit condition is your coil. The resistance of the coil. And that's where trouble
comes into its own.
Yep.
If you don't know your Ohm's law and you go straight to using the mechanical mod, not knowing what resistance you can safely use on a mech mod, because let's be honest, you're using your, for example, the K-Box Mini, which is a regulated device, which means it regulates the power going to your tank or your dripper. On a mechanical mech mod, you have metal, you have a copper pipe, in essence, on the inside, which bridges a connection between the battery and the coil. All you have got is that battery, in essence, but it's powering that device.
Yeah. Now, let me run this down for anybody out there who might be listening to this later on, so they can get an idea, have an idea of how to safely do this. The limitations that you have is basically the amp draw on your battery. Okay? There's a gentleman out there who haunts I believe it's Reddit and the e-cig forum, ECF, by the name of Battery Mooch. Okay? That's not his real name, but that's what he goes by on it. That's his name. He is by profession an electronics technician that deals with battery power professionally. He has been going out, spending his own money and his own time to rate all of the different types of batteries out there put out by different manufacturers. He put out a list recently he actually put out a graphic of the top rated batteries. He put it out for February 2016 is the latest one that he put out.
I've never seen that yet.
I have a copy of it. I think I sent you a copy of it, Dandy.
I think you did, yeah.
Yeah. I think I also posted it on my Facebook page, so you can get a copy of it there, and it links directly to it, so you can find it there. That will tell you the absolute maximum safe current drain for each one of those batteries, and that is an extremely important figure because that figure tells you the maximum amount of current that you can draw off that battery. Now, knowing the voltage of that battery, which is generally about 3.7 to 4.2 volts, and that current, using the figures, using the formulas that I showed you earlier, right here.
Excuse me.
Okay. You're looking at power here, and you have the voltage, which is V, and I, which is current. So voltage times current, which would be 4 volts, times, we'll say 20 amp for the battery. That will tell you the maximum amount of wattage you can get out of that battery safely. Now, using the other thing here, all right, you want to know the resistance of your coil. Now you have the power. You take your power, okay, let's see, power, you divide that by current squared, which is what you have up here, which is your 20 amps, and that will give you the max, the lowest resistance that you can put for a coil. And once you know what your lowest resistance is, you can always go up a little bit from that. So supposing, we'll say, you had a resistance, all these math figures came out and told you that you could put on, we'll say, hypothetically, a 0.5 ohm coil on that dripper or in that tank, okay? The safe thing to do would be to go from a 0.5 ohm coil, go up to a 0.7 or a 0.8 ohm coil. That will give you a little bit more of a buffer there, so you won't be running that battery at the absolute limits that it will be able to handle. Okay, now that's how you go about figuring for a mechanical hybrid, a mechanical mod, whether it's a regular mech mod with a standard 510 drip connector on it, or if it's a hybrid. Okay, that's how you figure out very simply, very succinctly, and very easily how to figure out your ohms. Then you go to Steam Engine, or you get one of these apps that you can pick up from the Android store or from the Apple store, and you plug it in there, and you tell it, well, I want to use a 2.5 millimeter inside diameter on it, and that will automatically tell you what size wire you want to use. It'll tell you how many wraps to use, and it will tell you exactly how to make that coil. And if you don't want to go about doing that coil like that, you can always go out and buy a 0.5 or a 0.5, a 0.6, 0.7, 0.8 ohm coil, or even a 1 ohm coil, and put it in there yourself, okay, without having to do the wrapping. That is how you're safe and how you go safe when you're dealing with a mech mod or you're dealing with a hybrid mech mod.
For those, sorry if I've just cut you off there, Joe.
Professor Joe has just closed class, so if you got any questions, leave them in the comments box down below this here. If you still happen to be watching through this thing, I know we've been running for quite a long time now, but if you still happen to be here and you happen to hear this and have questions, drop them in the comments box. I'll be more than happy to answer anything that you want.
For those that might be interested in the in mech mods, here's a visual representation of a mech mod. You have your 510 connection pin.
I'll be right back. I need to get something to drink. My throat is starting to feel like the middle of the Sahara, so I'll be right back.
This is your more designed mech mod. You still got your standard 510 connection pin. It is removable. There we go. Copper placed 510 pin. Now, right there is your fire button, which is removable with an adjustable flat-headed 510 pin connector. This is fit for a standard 18650 battery, so I'll remove the battery. And inside, all it is a copper tube. That is it. Nothing else. That is what Joe has just been explaining with the necessary requirements of knowing Ohm's law. When you're using a device such as this, which is inessential, basically a copper tube with a copper-based, sprung-mounted 510 connection pin for your tank or dripper, and an adjustable 510 connection for your battery. That is all you have on a Mech mod. That is it. No control panel, no circuitry, no regulation device,
No
nothing.
protection.
Basically what you have is the mechanical mod, which might look nice, which is in essence powered or conducted by a copper tube.
Yep.
That is it.
That's it.
That is all you get. No safety. The only safety you have on using a Mech mod is this. Ohm's law, a decent knowledge and understanding of Ohm's law, and fundamentally your own common sense.
Mm-hmm. And
that
it's not
hybrid
as,
Mech mod is not there for the brand new vapor out there. No matter how experienced the seller might tell you, this is how you use it. This is what you need to know. This is what coil you need to use. This is what ohms you need to know. This is what battery wattage and amperage you have to know. All this is going through your head thinking, what?
oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to figure this. It really is easy. Once you understand the relationship of one thing to the other and how they relate one to the other, and you learn how to plug numbers in. Those letters just represent concepts. Those letters on this chart that I showed you here before, they just represent concepts. Okay? Once you know what number to plug in there for that P, once you know what number to plug in there for that V, it becomes very easy. It's a simple division. Okay? Yeah. This one here is a simple multiplication. The V and the I make it look so damned hard. It's not. I am not the best person in the world for math. I am going to say this very plainly and very succinctly. Even to this day, I suck at math. If I haven't got my calculator, I'm freaking dead in the water. No holds barred about how to say it. There's just no other way to say it. Okay? Once you understand the concepts behind these formulas, okay, and know how to plug the numbers in there that those letters represent, and the concepts that those letters and numbers, those letters represent, it is easy. Any calculator, even a dollar store calculator, hear me, even a dollar store calculator can do that. You go down to Walmart, you pick up an ordinary everyday calculator, it's going to have those buttons in there to be able to do that.
Easily.
And you will be able to do it. So don't feel intimidated by it. I know I felt intimidated for years by the math. I was just like, I'm talking to you straight. I was just like you. Okay? I was intimidated by that kind of math for years. Okay? Once I got my calculator, it opened up a whole new world for me. Things started to open up for me. I understood things better. I started to make the connections up here. And I started to understand the concepts behind it.
It's so simple to use.
It is easy. Just about anybody can do it. Really.
It might look daunting. It might look frightening. As soon as you think, I want to start going into rebuildables and even hybrid mechanical mods, to look at the formula that you need to know for Ohm's law. Believe me, you look at that and you think, what? Really? What does this all mean? But once you start to build that first coil, using the Ohm's law, for example, a 0.2 ohm coil, you know you need maybe 4 or 5, 6 wraps on a certain gauge coil maker. Once you've made that coil, that's the first step. You've made your own coil.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've got your own dripper and you start unscrewing them screws and you start to put that coil in, you're thinking, what am I doing? Is this going to work? What am I doing? Am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? There is no right or wrong way of making a coil.
No, there really isn't.
But the first coil I made was a complete shambles. And it burnt out straight away because I jumped into it. Because I bought the knee box, it had a rebuildable head with it. So I made my own coil. It didn't work because I didn't know what I was doing. Once I found out what I needed to know, and I made a second coil, on the information it gave me, it's like, okay, I need this certain coil, this certain wire. If I wrap it around this thickness of screwdriver, which is all I had to hand, and you make that first coil, and then you start threading it through and screwing it down. And as soon as you fire that mod and it says 0.2 ohms, 0.3, you know you have made a coil that is going to work.
Yep. And I guarantee you this, okay? Hear me and hear me well. I guarantee you that the very first coil that you make, and you screw that thing down there and that thing starts to work on you, for you, and you get the vapor coming off of it, you are going to be feeling so high that it's not even funny. Because you will have gone and traversed one of the biggest chasms, and it's not even really a real chasm, it's a chasm of the mind that people freak out about.
Yeah.
You will have made a quantum leap for yourself. The same as the first human that ever sat down there and ever figured out how to make fire. Instead of finding a tree that got hit by a lightning strike. And he was able to figure out how to make his own fire from that point on. Because in reality, you have just made your own fire. You have now opened up a whole new world for yourself. That will, you're not going to be tied to the coil manufacturers who have this mysterious knowledge of how to make these coils, and that you have to keep shelling out those $3 and $4 for each coil head every time you want a coil head. You can now make your own coil heads for literally pennies. Literally pennies per
Even
coil.
if you buy an RDA that has, most RDAs these days come with 2 pre-made micro coils already made. Even fitting them, you've bridged that gap because you've fitted your own coil. Then once them coils are starting to get a bit grubby, a bit yours from when you think, Am I going to have to go out and buy some more coils for this? Make your own. Just have a trial. Even if it's wire that isn't suitable for a coil.
You can
Just
actually go out.
a coil.
I'm sorry, Andy. You
No.
can go out onto eBay. Okay, you can go out on eBay. There are companies out there that sell the wire, that sell the coils. For $5, you can pick up yourself one of these coil winding jigs like I have here, or you can even use a screwdriver if you want.
Yeah.
Okay. You go out there, you can pick up yourself 25 feet of wire for $2.50. $2.50. You can pick up a 50-foot roll for maybe $3.50, $4. Okay. Like I told you, this 100-foot roll that I picked up here cost me about somewhere about $5-7. Just think of how many coils you can get out of that. Okay?
Yeah.
Just think how many coils you can get out of that roll. And if you don't want to spend too much money on something that you think you might not be able to understand or get into, $2.50, hell, that's about the cost of getting into the New York subway system these days. Okay? That's one trip on the subway. Okay? That's not even the cost of one latte at a Starbucks. Starbucks now is like $3 or $4 for a latte. Okay? You go out and you get yourself a small 25-foot spool of wire. Here, like this. Just like that. Okay? Get yourself one of those. Spend yourself some time practicing making the coils. Go to steamengine.org, www.steamengine.org. Sit there with the calculator. Use the simple calculator that they have up there. You know this is 28 gauge. You know you want to do, we'll say, like a 1.2 or 1.8 ohm coil. Where it asks for the wire, it tells you, you have it right here, Canthol A1. You click on that to drop down box, go to Canthol A1. You know you have 28 gauge here. Okay? You know you want to make we'll say a 1.8 ohm coil. Now, I've done a lot of these, so a 1.8 ohm coil will be 8 turns.
8 turns.
8 turns on this, on a 2.5 millimeter inside diameter. I'm telling you right now what it is, so you know. But you plug in the numbers, 28 gauge Canthol, and you have a 2.5 millimeter screwdriver. You put those in there, and it will tell you 8 turns. Okay? So you sit there, you take your wire, you put it onto your screwdriver, and what I always do, and I did this in the other video that I'm going to be putting up a little later on, but I'll do it again and tell you about it right now. The very first turn is when it comes around and it goes right past where the wire is. That's your first turn. That one I always use as a give back turn, because that one is never, ever going to be an exactly perfect turn. Okay? So that's a give back. So from that point on, you start wrapping it once around, twice around, 3, 4, etc. till you get to 8. Okay? Now, depending upon the type of tank that you're going to be tank or dripper you're going to be putting this in, either the wires will have to come out exactly in the same plane. In other words, one wire comes out here, another wire comes out here, or they'll be coming 180 degrees out of each other. In other words, one will come this way, another one will come this way.
K-Fun style.
K-Fun style. Okay? Those are the 2 predominant types of coils. The first one I said is the most common type of coil that's out there, especially if you're going to be putting it into something like this little tugboat. Okay? That's the most common type of coil. The K-Fun style coil is a slight variant on it, and it's a little less common, but still very extremely common. Once you've got that, you take it off, slide it off the screwdriver, flip it around, hold the coil into place with your fingers, take a pair of needle nose pliers, unwrap that first coil, and then pull it tight. And then take it and pull it tight on the other lead. That will make sure that it'll tighten up and take off any excess slack that you might have missed while wrapping it. Once you've got that done, you slide it off, and then you go and mount it the same way that the manufacturer tells you to mount it for the particular RDA or RTA that you're working on. It's that simple. It really is that dirt stupid simple.
Simple. All it takes is practice.
Practice.
The more practice you do, the easier it will get, and the more simpler it will get.
Now,
then it's the case, if you want to go to the hybrid route, you know exactly what you're going to need. You know exactly what resistance you're going to need, and you'll be confident in knowing that you can build on something that requires for a hybrid net mod. For anything that's for a dripper or a rebuildable tank, you will know just by sitting down and thinking, right, I need this. I need that many wraps, that many gauge on that certain gauge, for that diameter. You will know, and then you can start experimenting on, even if you want to go that route, extreme sub-ohming.
Oh, don't even think about going there until you have a lot of experience wrapping your own coils and getting used to playing with things. Don't even think about going under the 0.1 mark. Don't even think about going there until you have at least 6 months to a year's worth of experience wrapping your own coils, making your own coils, and knowing what's going on.
Yeah,
now,
extreme sub-ohming is only for the experienced.
Yes. And I'm going to tell you something straight now. Okay? Yes, I have told you that I am by experience a computer/electronics technician. I did go to college for it. Okay? But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the first time that I wrapped my first coil to put into my K-Fun here, that I wasn't scared shitless. I was afraid, even with all my experience, okay, and being an amateur radio operator and knowing a lot about electronics, I was still very scared that I was going to be making a mistake. But I was confident enough in my own skills and in my own knowledge to know that if I did make a mistake, it wasn't going to be that big a mistake. Okay? And that I was not going to get into really deep kimchi for doing it. Nevertheless, my hands were still sweaty when I was making that coil. I was still very, very scared making it. And when I made that first coil, which, by the way, was just about 6 months ago, I have been, in April 17th, I will be vaping now for 1 year. 1 year. That's going to be my first vape-iversary. Okay? And I've only been making coils and doing my own dripping and stuff like that for roughly about 6 months now. Okay? So when I tell you this, I am not kidding with you one single slight bit. Okay? I have been there, and I've been there very recently, so I can tell you exactly how it's going to feel for you that first time, because it's still there for me. When I sit there and I make one of these little babies, okay? When I sit there and I make one of these little babies right here, like this, okay? Like I did earlier today. I still get a knot in my stomach saying to myself, I made that. This thing is something that I made. This is one of the 3 most important things in your vape. Okay? Because unless you got a battery, unless you got a coil, unless you ain't got, if you haven't got juice, you haven't got a vape. It's just like making fire. You need fuel, you need heat, and you need oxygen to make a fire. Well, for a vape, you need to have a battery, you need to have a coil, you need to have juice. Same thing. And I tell you, even today, when I make one of these things, I still get the same feeling in the pit of my stomach saying to myself, I made that, and now I can vape, and it can cost me a whole hell of a lot less than going out there and spending $1.50 for one of these things. Okay? This is a Pro Tank coil head. This is still about $1 to buy them. So yeah, you can turn around and do it. Just be careful. Watch what you're doing. Ooh, excuse me. Take your time doing it. Andy will answer questions from his channel if you have questions. I'll answer questions from my channel if you want to ask questions here.
Definitely, yeah.
Any of the reviewers that are worth their salt out there will answer your questions and try to help you out as much as possible. You don't have to come to us, okay? We're just telling you that we're here if you want it, okay? Any reviewer out there on eBay that's worth their freaking salt, that is worth being called a reviewer, will turn around and be more than happy to answer any question that you've got when it comes to this, because this pertains directly to your safety.
Exactly. Vaping is it's a nationalized community now. Massive community.
It's a worldwide community. It's worldwide.
Any concerns, whether it's coiling or wattages or temp control or anything,
juice, anything you want to ask.
Yeah, any of us are more than happy to assist in any sort of issues you might have. I mean, it's no problem whatsoever. I mean, if you wish to continue vaping and you're not exactly, if you're not sure on something, if you just want clarification on something, by all means, I mean,
hit any of us up. Hit any of us up.
We're more than happy to help you out in any area you're uncomfortable with, whether it's coiling.
And if a reviewer does not want to answer your question, or if he fluffs you off, okay, that person is not even worth your turning around and talking to them. Or if they don't even bother to answer your email or your message on YouTube, they don't even bother with you. Don't bother with them, because they're not worth it. I don't care how many hundreds of thousands of subs or how many single or two or three subs that person's got. If they don't take the time to answer your questions when you ask a really serious question, don't bother with them.
The majority will guide you in any which way you want to go. I mean, the only sort of advice I can give, if you wanted to start vaping or you're new to vaping, is go for a starter kit. That way, it's all prepped, set up, and ready for you to use. And if down the line you wish to experiment on coiling or moving up to temp control or anything, any of us are more than happy to point you in the direction what we would think, in our own opinion, might be worth going for.
Now here's a little suggestion for you. If you do go out and get yourself a coil, a tank, we'll say like the that's got a rebuildable head in there. Most of the companies that are out there will supply you with 1 or 2 extra coils in with that tank, like that Limo that I have up there. That Limo, when I purchased it, came with 2 coils in it, 2 separate spare coils that were not included inside, that were not including the one that was in the tank itself. If you're not sure about how to do the coil, get yourself a magnifying glass, get yourself a pin, and sit there and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Count the number of coils. Okay? Then take that same coil. Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Take that same coil, go through all your Phillips head screwdrivers that you got in the house, and just fit the coil, gently insert it in there until you get the 1 screwdriver or the 2 or 3 screwdrivers that fit into that coil nice and solid where they don't rattle around. Now those are going to become your mandrels for doing coils from now on. You now know how many coils, you now know the size. The only thing you need to do is know the size of the wire that's in there. And if you ask around, people will be more than happy to help you out and tell you what that size wire is. And if you're not sure, take it down to a local mechanic shop. Most mechanic shops will have a pair of calipers down there that they'll be able to take that and put that wire in there and tell you exactly how thick it is. Even a place like an auto parts store should have a pair of calipers where they'll be able to tell you exactly what the thickness of that wire is. And now that you have the third part of what you need to know, you can now make whatever coils you want whenever you want, and you will know exactly how many graps to make, and it's a starting place. From there, you can branch out anywhere you want to go.
Exactly. And on that,
yeah,
I believe it may be wise to call it a night on this one.
Yeah, it's getting late. I think we're probably already run about 3 hours already. So
yeah, we've been going a while.
It's 9 o'clock. We start. Oh, crikey! We started at 5:45, and it's now almost 9 o'clock. 5, 6, 7, 8. We've been going for almost 3¼ hours here.
It's now British Standard Time, 1:10 in the morning.
Ouch! I think we're damn near getting near the end of the time that we can do a broadcast in the first place, because they limit us to 4 hours. So
yeah, I think we've near enough hit the limit there.
Yeah, I only got 2 viewers, and that's down 1 from a little while ago where we had 3. So
yeah, it's better than nothing. I
yeah,
hope we've come across and give some invaluable information over.
So I will allow my compatriot over there to do his closings, and then I'll close, and then we'll get out of here and let you folks get on with whatever you're going to be doing.
Well, yeah, it's been an interesting live show, this one. I hope we've come across as giving you a bit of information anyway on what you may or may be interested in down the line. But from Great Britain, it's time for me to hit the sack. It's been a late one, but hopefully on the next one, it'll probably be the same as ever. We might come across on, we may focus on 1 or 2 issues. Maybe if people wanted to branch out into maybe rebuildables or even temp control, maybe, or it's how it goes. We could end up even saying, yeah, we'll discuss temp control and not even bother at all.
Yeah, I think what we need to do from now on is I think we need to set a timer, so we don't turn around and we don't have these marathon choke and puke sessions anymore.
Yeah, but it's been good.
Absolutely. This is one of the most enjoyable parts of doing this, because not only do you get the chance to meet and talk with other people out there from different parts of the world and that do different things. You get to learn things from other people and their experiences, and to be able to exchange knowledge and be able to hear what somebody else is thinking and expand your horizons. And that's something that is really, really a wonderful thing in this poor old world of ours, to be able to turn around and be able to just sit down and bullshit for a while and be able to just enjoy the company of somebody else. So from northern New Jersey to everyone out there worldwide, go ahead.
And from me in England, West Yorkshire, it's been an interesting live show. I've actually thoroughly enjoyed this one. It's been a really good one, this one. And for those of you that have been watching and probably will be watching when this goes out, by all means, join us next time when we can probably discuss even more things, maybe even vaping related or even non-vaping related. Who knows where it will go? Well,
and if we had more people in the chat asking us questions, it probably would have stayed a lot more vape related, and it probably would have been less time because we wouldn't have been going all over the place ourselves.
The next one could prove very interesting, I think. Extremely interesting. The more people that probably will watch this and think, yeah, okay, next one, we'll tag along, we'll get involved. By all means, get involved. You know, it's what it is. It's one of them shows where it could go either way.
Definitely. Andy, good night. Sleep tight, good prince. To everybody out there, in YouTube land, thanks for joining us. Take care. May the road rise to meet you, and may the wind be ever at your back. God bless. Night.
Good night.